The first federal trial over the opioid epidemic. There are state attorneys general and lawyers for cities and counties across the country on one side, drug companies on the other. America's listening to Fox News.
Skies are cloudy this morning. We have 54 degrees. At 5:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good Monday morning. I'm Mike Scott. Classes canceled again at Chicago Public Schools today as teachers continue to walk off the job. CTU Chief Jennifer Johnson says talks ended last night with both sides reaching agreements on a few issues impacting students with counselors and early childhood educators. Negotiations are set to resume this morning. Chicago Teachers Union Chief of Staff Jennifer Johnson says talks ended last night with both sides coming to some agreements.
We've been at the bargaining table for 10 months, and we're only seeing these concrete victories come together after having 25,000 members on picket lines, students and parents in the streets.
A group of Chicago Public School students are concerned that their sports seasons may end early because of the teachers' strike. The IHSA's current policy doesn't allow students to participate in the playoffs if they attend a school where a strike began before the beginning of the playoff series. State high school sports governing body may rule on that matter as soon as today. In other news on the education labor front, there's still no agreement between Mendota's school board and the Mendota Education Association. Addison Teachers Association continues to prepare for a strike. Contract talks there in District 4 are at an impasse after Addison teachers declined the board's last best offer. Turning to other news this morning at 5:03, Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill is facing a hearing that will set his fate. Former Indiana Supreme Court Justice will begin proceedings today on the professional misconduct claims against Hill. If the judge finds in favor of the women who've accused Hill of grabbing their backsides at an Indianapolis bar, he could lose his license to practice law. Hill strongly denies the claims and has resisted calls for him to step down. Hearing begins today and could last all week. Authorities are investigating a deadly triple shooting in Chicago's Austin neighborhood. Police say 3 men were standing on a sidewalk early this morning in the 5500 block of West North Avenue when someone inside a vehicle shot them. One of the victims died at a nearby hospital. 2 others this morning are in stable condition. There have been no arrests. A teenage boy is dead, 6 others hurt following a shooting and crash involving a police cruiser and an ambulance on Chicago's west side. 16-year-old Frank Looney and 2 other underage teens were shot Saturday night at that party. Meantime, 2 Chicago police officers and 2 paramedics were hospitalized in stable condition after a police vehicle and ambulance collide at Harrison and Fournoy, responding to that scene. Federal authorities are confirming the death of a former Chicago outfit boss, Joseph the Clown Lombardo. Man known as the Clown died Saturday at age 90. He was serving a life sentence at the Colorado Federal Pen for a conviction in the landmark 2007 Family Secrets mob trial, held responsible by jurors for the 1974 murder of businessman and federal witness Daniel Seifert. Macomb police are looking into reports that shots were fired near Western Illinois University's campus over the weekend. No one was hurt. Illinois lawmakers are taking steps toward setting price controls for insulin in the state. Some state senators want to limit out-of-pocket insulin prices to $100 a vial. Authorities say a man has died after falling almost 50 feet from an overhang at Starved Rock State Park. Illinois Conservation Police Sergeant Phil Wire says the 30-year-old was working with a licensed film crew near the Council overhang when he went off a trail and fell around 10 a.m. Saturday. Authorities did not release that man's name. The Cubs could be close to hiring their next manager. Major League Baseball reporting that Houston Astros bench boss Joe Espada traveled to Chicago yesterday for his second interview with the club. The 44-year-old interviewed last week with Cubs executives. Saints defeat the Bears at Soldier Field 36-25. Bear cornerback Prince Amukamara says it was the defense that laid the egg.
On our side of the ball, that's just unacceptable. And the phrase that's been said is that we all got to look ourselves in the mirror. And I feel like we're losing our identity. We just have to get back to that.
Patrick Kane scored the game-tying goal in the third period. Blackhawks still fell to the Capitals 5-3 at the UC. The Bulls gearing up for their season opener Wednesday night in Charlotte. And the World Series gets going tomorrow as the Nationals visit the Astros in Game 1 in Houston. The news, a service of Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. 5:07, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes every society needs norms.
The notion that society can have norms is very important. And what the left does is chaos. They hate freedom and they hate order. Any society needs it, because when the guardrails are broken, there's chaos and bad things will happen.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, my friend's company spent 3 days cleaning up an email phishing attack that targeted several dozen employees.
Yeah, if just one malicious email slips through, an attack can spread quickly and do serious damage.
What if that happens to us?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda Forensics and Incident Response.
So we're good?
Yes, with fast automated response and remediation, all traces of the attack can be removed in less than 5 minutes.
Wow, that's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Can the Democrats beat Trump? Find out by watching Newsmax's presidential town hall with top Democratic candidates like Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, Beto, and more. See the Newsmax town hall live Thursday night starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Newsmax asks the tough questions about impeachment, guns, healthcare, and more. Find Newsmax TV on DirecTV 349, Dish 216, Xfinity 1115, Optimum 102, Fios 615, Spectrum, Suddenlink, Uverse, or check your channel guide. Newsmax TV is real news for real people.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real, natural-looking hair back permanently. They're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts MORE to 85850. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text MORE to 85850. That's MORE to 85850.
Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma. Here's to progress.
5:10 on AM 560. It's time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Permaseal 800-421-SEAL. And in the AM 560 traffic center this morning, in for Jim Telemonte, here's Eddie Manzano.
No major incidents or delays happening at this time. The roads flowing freely on all major highways. Here are some local travel times for you. Eden's inbound and outbound at 19 from Lake Hook to the junction. Kennedy also in either direction at 20 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. Inbound at 10 from the junction. Express lanes at 8. On the Ike inbound, Thorndale to the post office 29, also 29. Stevenson also flowing freely at 34 minutes from 55 to Lakeshore Drive, and that's inbound and outbound. Inbound Dan Ryan, 90 to downtown 15, outbound also 15. Express lanes in either direction flowing freely. No delays on 57 as well as Bishop Ford. Lakeshore Drive also flowing freely in either direction, and no major incidents or delays on the suburban tollways. That's traffic. I'm Eddie Manzano. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Periods of rain. It'll be a windy day. The high today at 64. Clouds and breezy tonight, low 45. For tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, and cool. Shower in spots, high 51. Partly sunny, breezy on Wednesday, a high 58. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
54 degrees at O'Hare, 51 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Limu, I love how we're always looking out for each other. Kind of like how Liberty Mutual looks out for you by customizing your home insurance. So you only pay for what you need.
Limu, why didn't you tell me about the uncovered manhole? I was literally just telling you. Limu, I had no idea you could swim.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Napa know-how.
Why should you buy a 99-cent Napa bag? Because it's no ordinary bag. It can save you 20% on 3 or more items you can fit inside. Some call that magic. Others say it's the 8th wonder of the world. But whatever it is, it's the best way to save you 20% on brakes, filters, wipers, and more. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Minimum 3 items. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 10/31/19.
Nothing speaks louder about an auto dealer than a happy customer. And at Joe Cotton Ford, they have many.
I had a 2001 Excursion, was about 6 months old. We got T-boned, $29,000 worth of damage, bent the frame. After a few months, got it back from you guys, and it actually drove and rode better than when I got it from the factory. Well, service visits are always top-notch. You know, your service department, starting with Dave and going down all your service riders, are just amazing.
Another reason why folks keep coming back to Joe Cotton Ford. It's Truck Month at Joe Cotton Ford. Get a great deal on an F-150, the best-selling truck for 42 straight years. Joe Cotton Ford has over 40 F-150s to choose from, with up to $15,000 off XLT crew cabs. All built Ford proud, built Ford tough. All incentives applied. Stock number T9205. Celebrate Truck Month at Joe Cotton Ford, Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com. This hourly segment is brought to you by The Mortgage Update with Dan Frio. Every Saturday morning at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and I'm going to spend a lot of time on this, but it feels like it should be remarked upon. I was at the Bears game yesterday.
Oh, that's right, because you said you wanted to go to the Saints game.
That was an ass-kicking on both sides of the ball. Basically, let's hope the...
I noticed how everybody left in the fourth quarter.
I remember that song being played once when Cordell Patterson returned the ball 102 yards off a kickoff, and then half-heartedly being played when Pinheiro made a field goal. But that was about all the scoring before slop time. That was domination. That Bears team,
they're flat, man,
is a wreck.
Yeah, they need a new quarterback.
Well, they need
or something. They need somebody to lead. They need a leader out there, and they obviously don't have that.
They're running a West Coast offense that neither moves the ball nor scores, which is a different version of the West Coast offense than I remember from sort of the glory days of Montana. There's no offensive line. Before slop time, it's the 17 yards rushing. Akeem Hicks, do they miss him that much? Where was Eddie Goldman? Where was Khalil Mack? They got run over. They made Teddy Bridgewater look like Drew Brees. There's a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver. I mean, this is the same Teddy Bridgewater that used to play for the Vikings. It's not like they haven't seen this guy before. Remarkable. Hub Arkush, would you like to revise and extend your remarks? I'm at a golf outing over the summer. Hub Arkush is the MC.
Yeah.
And he talks about the Bears' forthcoming season because he's one of these experts. It seems like the experts in a lot of sports media are very much like the experts in political media, which is to say not experts. He look, I don't know. They may be a year away, but I could see them challenging the Saints for the NFC Championship this year. That's what Habarka said. Could you see them challenging the Saints now? Then that's after getting run over by Oakland across the pond. That's 2 weeks in a row, 2 games in a row, actually, off a bye week. That performance was off a bye week. I was flabbergasted watching it. The vaunted offense. Excuse me, the vaunted defense. I knew the offense was going to be a struggle. Mitch Trubisky, don't screw up, don't turn the ball over. There were a couple of turnovers yesterday, not on him. It's just it's remarkable.
But they had no answers. Matt Nagy, Mitch Trubisky,
they got outscored.
He just said we have no identity. We're just searching.
They got outscored 24-0 at home in the second half. Before it was, let's just play flag football for a few minutes to run the clock.
Right.
24-0 at home in the second half. It was 12-10 at half. They were lucky to be there.
But the Saints had fire in their belly. Like they came to play. You know what I mean? And the Bears were just sleeping. Like they were in London the first half.
The first series, block a punt.
I know.
Block a punt? What?
A safety, too. Yeah.
So,
but I like how everybody left then. You were there. Did you leave early or did you see
No. Not 36-10 and then, with the 5 minutes left, then it was time to, head to the exits. But
that's when the game got exciting.
But this team is not a year away, maybe challenging this year? No. Oh, no. Wow. And that was after I endured Friday night. These are the trials and travails of my life.
Yeah. What did you have to endure Friday night?
Well, I went to the Northwestern Ohio State game to see Northwestern get beat 52-3.
At least they scored a field goal. Whew.
That's a terrible team. The Northwestern faithful, all those North Shore denizens that I saw in the stands, should we hold off on erecting the Pat Fitzgerald statue outside of Ryan Field? Should we hold off on that? That is a bad football team, too.
They play Iowa this weekend at Northwestern. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be scintillating. That'll be, 9-3.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting TOP to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 LASIK surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago. And we're offering 20% off our already low-cost services.
What's that text again?
Text TOP to 350350. That's TOP to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Hey, take control of your income and your future. I'm talking about Online Trading Academy. They are the leader in trading and investing education with courses offered throughout Chicago, including East Peoria, Valparaiso, and Lombard. With Online Trading Academy, you can learn about ways to generate income and protect your retirement. Don't let somebody else make money off of your retirement. Make the money yourself. Sign up for a free class like I did at the Lombard location. I was really impressed by what I experienced. I learned a lot about the markets and how to trade, and the instructor was incredibly knowledgeable, personable. He really did take time to explain how to use their patented trading strategy. And after my experience, I really recommend that you give it a try. So sign up for the free introduction class, and I'm sure you'll walk away with a new understanding of trading the markets. Call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132 to attend to get 2 free passes to their next class so you can see for yourself. And also, they'll send you home with a professional insider's kit. It's full of exclusive investing courses and information from some of the best pros in the business. Seats go quickly, my friends, so call now, 844-778-7132. That's 888-778-7132 or visit them online at otaclass.com.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. Critics of President Trump often express bafflement over why his broad support among conservatives is so enduring. The answer is short and simple. Trump is establishing a record of genuine and possibly lasting conservative reforms. The latest came on October the 9th when he signed 2 executive orders designed to improve transparency when government agencies issue or enforce guidance on how to best comply with a law or regulation. Don't be fooled by that word, guidance. These informal missives from the vast federal bureaucracy carry extraordinary real-world costs and sometimes extremely destructive punishment. Now, Trump is bringing down the hammer on the guidance-addicted bureaucrats. Quote, "This regulatory overreach gravely undermines our constitutional system of government," Trump said. Now that is conservatism. And it's conservatism that attracts conservatives. How blindingly obvious. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Publicpolicy.pepperdine.edu.
Hey, listeners have helped build MyPillow into the amazing company that it is today. And now Mike Lindell, the inventor and CEO of MyPillow, wants to give back by offering deep discounts on all MyPillow products. It's crazy, folks. 30% off the mattress toppers, the Giza cotton sheets that come in all sizes and colors. And you can get a MyPillow for $29.99 plus a whole body pillow that provides the perfect comfort and support for your whole body. Regularly $89.99, but with promo code Amy, it's only $29.99. Here's what you do. Go to mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, and voila, you'll see the discounts. You'll see the money just drop. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. What did you do to advance the cause of menstrual equity this weekend? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I assume you were at a National Period Day rally, Amy.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't get the memo about this. What menstrual equity week or rally, or is it a month, or is there a certain color we have to wear?
You.
Do we have to wear red ribbons?
It's vivid. Thank you.
You're welcome.
National Period Day rallies in D.C. and 59 other rallies across the nation on Saturday advocating for widespread period product access and an end to the tampon tax, of course. Rallygoers also demanded Congress address reports of migrant women in detention centers denied period products and bleeding through their clothing.
Oh, did you see the picture of National Period Day? There's women holding up fists with tampons in their hands and strings coming out of their hands. That is disgusting. Keep it private, ladies. I mean, really.
21-year-old from Bronzeville, Texas.
Is this her menstruation story, Dan?
It is.
We need special music behind this.
Okay. Well, I'll let you choose from the catalog. It was really tough. I remember the shame we felt. No one should ever have to feel that way. It's time to end menstrual inequity. She's recalling Julie Sanchez is her name. Growing up, she would stay home from school when she got her.
Oh, suck it up.
Period.
I mean, honestly. Well, if we all did that, there's
tough
no work.
love.
No work would be done if everybody just crawled in a corner.
Keynote speaker Julie Schweikert-Collazo, director of Immigrant Families Together. Oh, they do very good work. Less often do we talk about menstrual equity in places that are totally beyond public view, such as prisons, immigration detention centers. They cannot be here to speak in their own words today. So Julie was asking that we do not forget them today on National Period Day, and I want you to know I haven't. Nadia Okamoto is a 21-year-old junior at Harvard University. She's the co-founder of the nonprofit advocacy group Period.
I see what they did there.
She helped launch the series of rallies across the country because period poverty disproportionately affects people in low-income households.
Well, according to their website, they said it's found that 46% of low-income women have to choose between eating a meal or paying for food and a period product. 46% of low-income women.
I bring you this story and those fictional statistics For the purpose of reminding you that there is no depth to which the identitarians won't seek. There's no depth to which they will not sink. There is no bottom to the lunacy. Zero. So you
Well,
better.
I can see how homeless women might have problems, but at these shelters and food banks, they do hand out feminine products. And I only know because I worked at one for 2 years.
So it's not a national crisis then?
No, there's help available for them.
That brings me to a related story. Pscouts.com.
What?
P-Scouts, as in P-Hats.
Oh.
But they spell it out. Pscouts.com is produced by FCKH8.com. I'll let you sound that out at home. It's a T-shirt company on a mission to inspire social change. The company has raised $250,000 for equity causes, perhaps menstrual equity, arming thousands of people with pro-LGBT equality, anti-racism, and anti-sexism T-shirts that act as mini billboards for progress. And they have little girls in this video you're about to hear wearing something approximating a Girl Scout uniform with merit badges. And they're saying things like this.
Oh, Scouts! Ready for your song about President Trump? Yay! Yay! Ready be dropping to beat that sick. We're gonna rap about a president. You call women fat pigs, so no respect. Try to grab my you're gonna get wrecked. Couldn't Planned Parenthood, health care, and it didn't work. Fuck the up hair. You said the ladies, you gotta treat them like choose rapist, sex, assault culprit, and take away a woman's abortion right. That makes Liz Warren. I'll take it down in a fight. Like Princess Leia choked out Jabba the Hutt. The women's march showed women's mouth can't be shut. Super callous. Fraudster, racist, sexist, not my opponent. Yeah, racist Muslim ban. You love Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan. And immigrants that you hate and berate. Is racist ignorance. Don't make America great. Scout starts with backwards. Side. Forfeit your boss, bitches. And we drop the mic.
Scouts.com. Had emerged in the Women's March as a powerful symbol of the fight for equality. Get your hat or get involved with the cause and get a shirt. Girls just want to have fun to mental rights. This is what a feminist looks like. Scouts.com.
And again, for emphasis,
Ew,
like
that's disgusting.
Grammar school girls featured in this, profanity, references to body parts. But
Profanity laced toward or directed toward President Trump, too.
Correct. Pscouts.com is patronized by big-time celebrities. Jane Lynch, Adam Lambert, Zac Efron raved about his Some Dudes Marry Dudes Get Over It t-shirt. Zach, you're so current and courageous. Whoopi Goldberg, Rachel Ray. Both support this Potty Mouth Princesses campaign. That's what it's called. Potty Mouth Princesses. Okay. John and Lombard, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Hey, can't these women just identify as a man a couple days a month and not have this problem anymore?
Well, I think, John, thanks for the call and the suggestion. I'm glad the wheels are turning. But I think in order to advance the cause of equity, you'd have to have men. Did he say men identify as women?
No, women identify as men for a few days to avoid.
We need men to identify as women to be simpatico.
Well, there's such a thing called menstruation.
You don't have to tell me.
And I just don't know how you come up with the money to pay for the taxed items that you have to purchase.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to tackle menstruation equity on another show.
Okay. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, day 3 of the CTU strike. What are the kiddies to do? And some scholarships are on the line. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
54 degrees at 5:30. Power is out to tens of thousands of homes this morning. Damage is widespread after a tornado plowed across North Dallas. Catherine Pascal said the damage was pretty intense and significant.
One whole wall of the garage and the garage door were taken off, the whole frame, and deposited in the alley behind the garage. And 4 windows and 3 trees we lost.
Officials say it's possible the tornado might have tracked about a 17-mile path through north and northwest suburbs of Dallas. Defense Secretary Mark Esper says U.S. troops withdrawing from Syria are being sent to nearby Iraq.
The current game plan is for those forces to reposition into western Iraq, and then to two missions. One is to help defend Iraq, and two is to perform a counter-ISIS mission as we sort through the next steps.
Meantime, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says the president was a bit surprised about his plan to host world leaders at his Doral Golf Resort.
The president isn't one for holding back his feelings and his emotions about something. He was honestly surprised at the level of pushback.
Mulvaney on Fox News Sunday saying the president has since scrapped that plan. Landmark federal opioid trial begins today. Canadian voters head to the polls today in what could be a close election for current Prime Minister, the controversial Justin Trudeau. Liberal Party leader is locked in a virtual tie with Conservatives in Canada. This morning, check your sausage in your freezer. Retail giant Walmart is recalling 6,000 pounds of Great Value brand ready-to-eat sausage products over concerns of salmonella. Classes canceled again at the Chicago Public Schools as teachers continue to walk off the job. And authorities continue investigating a triple shooting in Chicago's Austin neighborhood. Police say 3 men were standing on a sidewalk early this morning in the 5500 block of West North Avenue. One of the victims died at a nearby hospital. Saints over the Bears, 36-25. Blackhawks fell to the Capitals, 5-3. James McCourt nailed a 39-yard field goal as time expired, and the Fighting Illini get a game-changing win over number 6 Wisconsin on Saturday, 24-23. And the World Series gets going tomorrow. Nationals visit the Astros in Game 1 in Houston. 5:33. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity can't make heads or tails of the left.
To be a liberal Democrat, extreme radical socialist today, you have to suspend any fidelity to truth, to honesty, to common sense and reason. Because in their world, up is down, down is up. You know, black is white, white is black, green is purple, purple is green. That's the world they live in.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Sheet metal is a big part of commercial and industrial facilities. Look around your business and you'll quickly notice how many components use sheet metal. From fan systems and hoods to machinery guards and much more. For top quality sheet metal work, get to know the pros at Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial sheet metal contractor that can fabricate all types of alloys up to 1-inch plate. We perform jobs including chutes, hoppers, stacks, siding, and dust collection. We work in material handling facilities including steel, chemical, agricultural, food processing plants, and more. Vans Industrial can also design and perform the engineering for a complete turnkey installation. Our quality work is installed by trained mechanics who will work closely with you to make sure the job is done right.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Remember when you could pick up the phone and talk to a friendly voice for technical difficulties?
Yeah, now it's a help desk on the other side of the planet that knows nothing about my business and usually isn't much help at all.
I got stuck in a help chat room the other day, and it was endless back and forth. I don't think they ever really understood or cared about my issue.
It's tough to get great technical help these days. To find people that really care and invest in your success. That's what Turnkey IT does. And you can rely on them to take care of everything IT, as if they were right by your side, but without the expense of an in-house IT department. Get to know the local team members at Turnkey IT that continue to serve businesses just like yours, from 1 to 200 employees. A friendly face with a personal touch that's close by and believes your word really means something. For only $7.95 per month, you can have local IT help and forget about dealing with computer and network problems forever.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
5:36 AM 560 traffic center time. In for Jim, Eddie Manzano.
Outbound Kennedy, delays from Cumberland to the extension. On the inbound Dan Ryan, slow from Roosevelt into the Circle, 95th to downtown 16. Express lanes delayed from 31st to the Stevenson. On the outbound, no delays. Bishopport inbound slow from King to the Dan Ryan, 8094 Dan Ryan at 16 minutes. No delays on the outbound. No other major incidents or delays at this time. Here are some local travel times for you on the Edens inbound and outbound at 19 from Lake Cook to the Junction. Kennedy in either direction. O'Hare to downtown at 20 minutes. From O'Hare to downtown, inbound express lanes at 8 and the local at 10. On the Ike inbound and out at 29 from Thorndale to the post office. And on the Stevenson, 34 from 55 to Lakeshore Drive, and that's inbound and outbound. That's traffic. I'm Eddie Manzano on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Windy, rain showers, 64 today, cloudy, breezy, 45 overnight. Currently, we have 54 at O'Hare, 51 Lakeside. Your next news update is at 5:30 or at 6, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retire Chicago. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 to Retire Chicago with John McNamara of McNamara Capital.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Mayor Lori Lightfoot continuing to up her ante to try to settle the Chicago teacher strike. And at the same time, proposing all sorts of new tax increases. Isn't that interesting? Huh.
Yeah, isn't she going to go to Springfield to ask for money? And if she can't get it, then she's going to raise our property taxes, guys. Isn't that great?
So she's going to do this. She's going to say, basically, look, per my slogan, better together. It's better if we ruling class politicians raise taxes together. Otherwise, you're going to force me to do it by myself, and then I'll just blame you. Is that what she said when she ran for office?
No.
I'm going to make the tough decisions by going to Springfield with my tin cup like every other mayor has ever done and demanding more of the state's money to prop up this house of cards in Chicago, because that's what paradigm-shifting leadership looks like. No, not really. Not really. So here we go. We've got proposals to increase the taxes on ride-sharing services, make them the most expensive in the nation.
It's a $3 tax on a solo rideshare trip to downtown. So if I was going out to the suburbs, they wouldn't put it on me. But if you're going downtown, that's where they're going to stick it to you for Lyft and Uber.
60 cents per trip to $113 for single riders. Single ride trips going or leaving from downtown during peak hours, that would be an additional $175. That's a tripling. Also, Lori Lightfoot announced that she wants everybody dining out to chip in. Oh, she's asking.
For what?
To chip in an additional 25 cents for every $100 restaurant tab, doubling the city's tax on food and drinks at restaurants.
What?
Isn't that sort of one of the last golden geese in Chicago? Is the bar and restaurant business? Going to put a crimp in that. These and other responsible solutions will help the city secure dedicated revenues, preparing for long-term blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, the big one, as you mentioned, if I don't get some bailout money from Springfield, then everybody's property taxes are going up. Well, let me tell you something.
They're broke.
What do you think is going to happen to your property taxes when this deal is struck to end the teacher strike? With the blank check they're already writing that they can't finance. They have no way to finance what they've proposed giving the teachers. The raises against the backdrop of doing nothing on pensions and health care benefits, which are benefit levels they cannot currently finance. I'll tell you what, it's a funny thing. It turns out that these budget deficits and unfunded liabilities are very homophobic and racist. And maybe that's the way we need to couch it. We need to couch budget deficits and unfunded liabilities, debt, public debt, as racist and homophobic. Maybe that would get some people's attention to put them out of business, because those budgets and those unfunded liabilities and that public debt, that's racist and homophobic. We have the triple threat as mayor. We have a black, female, gay mayor. I thought all these problems were going to go away. What's happening? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I'll tell you what's happening is people are going away.
Oh, yeah. There's a woman I met yesterday at church, lives in Logan Square. Her property taxes, Lincoln Square, went from $16,000 a year to $24,000 a year. Mine went up about $2,000. But that's $2,000 that I don't want to give to the city, so now I'm looking to move. Because
Where are you going?
I don't know. I looked at an apartment or condo down the street. Their property taxes for this tiny little
condo
down my street. Ready?
Wow.
Are you ready? Property taxes for this little, it's as big as this room, $8,400. Like, well, why would I move from my place to live here?
Well, why? Yeah,
there's
why
not
would
that
you?
much of a difference.
Why
Well,
would
I'm
you?
not.
Well,
I
why
went
would
in there thinking, okay, this will be. I'm sure the property taxes are lower, and I got in there, and it's $8,400.
Can I just say again, there is no sense in buying property in this state.
No, none whatsoever.
You cannot make a return, so why would you encumber yourself with a long-term asset that is immediately depreciating faster than your car does when you drive it off the lot, while you're paying these confiscatory property taxes? And because you're paying these confiscatory property taxes, in addition, people don't want to live here. We just talked last week about the crickets market. This is according to real estate brokerages in the city. Crickets market, worse than the Great Recession of 2008, according to one Northside broker.
Right, because you can only claim $10,000 in Illinois
That's
property taxes.
Small part of it. We had a problem before that.
It's really bad
that's
now.
the same.
They can't even write it off.
That's the same situation in every other state in the nation, and it's Chicago that Realtor.com projected to have the worst housing market of the top 200 metro areas in 2019, and that prediction is proving true.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Greg from Jefferson Park and I are on the same wavelength. He's about to set me up for our latest notorious exiter. Greg in Jefferson Park.
Good morning, Dan, Amy. Hope you guys had a good weekend.
Yes. National Period Day. We both celebrated.
So gross.
Hey, I don't know if you caught it, but Dennis Byrne had a perspective in yesterday's Tribune, and everyone listening to this needs to go get it on the website, whatever, photocopy it, make 100 copies, and give it to everyone you know. It explains in detail a guy who has lived in Chicago, had his career in Chicago, his whole life is moving to Florida. You know, in addition to that, I got a couple friends who live in Park Ridge, and they are getting slammed with property tax increases, man. It's just getting hit huge.
Thanks for the call, Greg. So here, so long, Illinois, goodbye, Chicago, writes Dennis Byrne. Here I was born and raised, schooled and worked. Practically my entire life has unfolded in Chicago and close by. As a kid, I rode on Chicago streetcars and the wooden L cars before there was a CTA. Took the old North Shore line to high school and college. Flew out of Midway Airport when it was the nation's busiest and before there was O'Hare. Caddied in Northfield. I wonder where he caddied. Northfield.
What place is it? What course is in Northfield? Stand by.
Sunset Ridge is Glenview. I got to find out where Dennis Byrne caddied. All right. Anyway, I digress. Labored over a North Avenue knitting mill's steam table. Worked for 3 Chicago daily newspapers. I love Chicago. Chicago is my town, but I've had enough. Fed up. I'm gone.
Northfield Golf Club, Legacy Golf, or Woollinger's Golf? Any sound familiar? No. Okay. Do continue.
He goes on to write, there are many reasons for leaving, as there are people fleeing, the weather not being the least of them, but little is being done about Chicago's weather. Little is to be done about Chicago's weather, unlike how the city and state have been ravaged by the greedy, incompetent, and power-hungry, by the boodlers, gonifs, and crooks who fancy themselves as the feudal lords and we their vassals, by public employee unions, Chicago teachers that have turned the idea of public service into a joke on the taxpayers, who in fact have become the public servants, by voters whose party loyalties, ideologies, and self-serving have made Chicago not just a national laughingstock, but a dangerous place. Dennis Byrne. He gone. Where else have teachers walked out on their students after rejecting an unaffordable $2.5 billion contract package that offered, among other things, a 16% pay raise, and with other built-in increases would raise the average teacher salary over 5 years to nearly $100,000? I don't need a statistical analysis to know that thousands are fleeing the carnage, but the politicians and others who've run the city and state into the ground seem oblivious to the facts that residents are getting the hell out. They're not oblivious. This is a mistake even the great Dennis Byrne makes. They're not oblivious. Stop pretending they just have their heads in the clouds. They don't care. They do not care. Because here's the counterintuitive reality. The worse they make it, the better it gets for them, the socialists. And, the handful of Republicans bouncing around out on the hustings, running into each other. The worse it gets, the worse they make it, the better it gets for them. Because as you have productive people flee who can do grade school math, who's left? The beneficiaries of the kleptocracy. Those at the top end, public sector unions. Those at the bottom end, state and city dependents who have had their souls crushed through the welfare state, basically, and are the beneficiaries of transfer payments. And so you have champagne socialists, public sector unions at the top, beneficiaries of transfer payments at the bottom, nothing in between. So that constituency is San Francisco. And what do they send to Congress? What is their local leadership like? You see? So this is all good news for the socialists. They are not oblivious. They do not care. They're happy to tear asunder your life. They're happy to take your property. They're happy to force your company to another state because, frankly, you're the problem. If you properly understand that their outlook is just solely about political power, as Dennis Byrne references, then you start to bring into focus what they're actually doing and why they're doing it. Lori Lightfoot asking people to chip in this and chip in that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Take more of my money.
And
please. No, really.
And you'll have the corporate titans in Chicago go along with it. And you'll have even those who are hurt by the policies that she advances. Regressive taxes, right? Regressive taxes that disproportionately hurt people on the lower end. That's what regressive means. Who are the people on the lower end? Disproportionately minorities in black neighborhoods on the south and west sides and some Latino neighborhoods as well. And you'll have the frat and sorority graduates, still populate River North, and you'll have some empty nesters come down and get a place in the Gold Coast or in Streeterville or in Old Town or in Lincoln Park. And it'll all be hunky-dory. I'm not really vested in Chicago. I can leave any time. Don't care. Don't want to get involved. So let the barbarians run the city. Oh, and they will. They are. That's what Dennis Byrne is getting to.
Yeah, it's a great article.
Verlon on the south side.
Well, Dan, you said it last week. They were going to make a big whoop, and then she was going to slowly concede to every issue. She's conceded to the teachers making $100,000 a year. They're going to do a massive hiring of nurses and social workers. And alongside that, they're going to use our homes as ATMs. And what gives them the right to ask for affordable housing for the homeless? For the homeless and students. I guess for themselves as well, because they say they don't make enough. Listen, they're getting all their perks now, and guess what the kicker is going to be? In 3 years, before her next election, they're going to get them again. This city's done.
Thanks, Verlon.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Limu, I love how we're always looking out for each other. Kind of like how Liberty Mutual looks out for you by customizing your home insurance. So you only pay for what you need.
Limu, why didn't you tell me about the uncovered manhole? I was literally just telling you.
Limu, I had no idea you could swim.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Napa know-how. Why should you buy a 99-cent Napa bag? Because it's no ordinary bag. It can save you 20% on 3 or more items you can fit inside. Some call that magic. Others say it's the 8th wonder of the world. But whatever it is, it's the best way to save you 20% on brakes, filters, wipers, and more. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Minimum 3 items. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 10/31/19.
This is Dan Frio with the Mortgage Update. The Fed did it again and helped push mortgage rates to yet another historic low. So are you holding off refinancing your home because you think rates may go even lower? Well, let me make your decision even easier. Let's refinance you now and take advantage of this opportunity. If rates drop more than 0.5% in the next 24 months, I will refinance you at the lower rate at no closing costs. Other lenders state that they'll refinance you, but watch out for the fine print. So if you have a conventional loan that's over 4.75 or FHA or VA loan over 4.5, you have nothing to lose and thousands to save. So find out how much you can save. Just pick up the phone to call me personally. That's 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-LOAN. Or find me on the web at windmortgage.com.
Parkside Lending, LLC is an Illinois residential mortgage licensee and an equal housing lender. NMLS 176162.
Hey, if you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, then dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, and your dental health. Hey, Sean Hannity here. So what are you waiting for? Find out now if implants are for you. Successful implants don't come from an implant factory. Skill, treatment, installation, those are the main differences for successful lifelong implants. That's why you need to see Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Neruzzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants themselves. You need the experience, the skill, and honesty that over 25 years of dental implants brings, and you're going to be happy with your implant. It's not a mass production procedure because everyone is different. And Dr. Neruzzi wants to talk to you about dental implants today.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics at 630-232-7400. They're online at implantsforme.com.
Hi, I'm Paul Cutler, pastor of Grace Lutheran Church in Streamwood, a proud donor of AM 560's Food for the Poor campaign. Grace is a gathering of regular people who love God, love each other, and reach out to others with the love of Christ. Mercy Community, a spirit-filled black church, and Iglesia Jerusalem, an Hispanic congregation, also meet on Grace's campus. We all work together to make a difference in the world. If you've had little or no experience with church, Grace is the place for you. If you've had a less than great experience with church, Grace is the place for you. If you want to learn more about God, more about yourself, and more about life, I personally invite you to check us out at gracestheplace.net or call us at 630-289-3996 or like us on Facebook at Grace is the Place ST. That's gracestheplace.net or 630-289-3996 or like us on Facebook at Grace is the Place ST. I look forward to meeting you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Programming note, bottom of the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to our friend Joseph O'Call. Remember him? Joseph O'Call is a math teacher and chess coach at Earl STEM Academy.
That's right.
Joseph O'Call.
Is he crossing the picket line?
He has.
I know. And is he still continuing to do so? Wow.
Michael in Lake Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
6 little words. Yeah. Rome wasn't bilked in a day.
Okay.
Well, apparently
thanks for the call, Michael.
They did make some progress in reference to school counselors because that's what teachers have wanted. They say, I can't be a teacher and a counselor and, a school nurse all in one. I need help, and that some progress was made last night.
I am a professional school counselor in Chicago Public Schools, and I am so relieved tonight to announce a historic shift in Chicago Public Schools' use of their counselors. Yeah.
Okay, but what exactly? She wouldn't have a definite number of how many more school counselors are going to give? Unless, for some reason, you might possibly have that information, because it's all ambiguity.
Yeah, I got this from the Democrat Socialists of America out there supporting the teachers. I mean, how can you distinguish between the two groups, frankly? The Maduroistas out there, shameful people who went down to Venezuela, and this can't be said enough, to support the repressive Maduro regime. It's one thing to, tweet about China like some of these NBAers. It's another thing to go down to Venezuela and be used as propaganda tools for a dictator like Maduro. That's what they did, and nary a crossword was said from anybody in the teachers union, Chicago teachers cohort that I heard. The class size red herring. Our Janice Jackson, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, the superintendent there, said our class size would would allocate $10 million to support additional staffing for the relatively small number of overcrowded classrooms in the district. Oh, there's a statement. This is the big issue. Overcrowded classrooms. Here's $10 million in a $7 billion enterprise. That's CPS. Here's $10 million. We'll throw at overcrowding for the handful of schools that are a handful of classrooms that are overcrowded. What a joke. And that school counselor that you just heard from is a joke.
Well, also, city soccer playoffs were supposed to start today. And students, I know you might not care about soccer.
No, this is great news.
No, this is a student, Osvaldo Barragan, who was hoping to get a scholarship.
I was also supposed to have some college coaches come look at me on Wednesday, but then again, I don't know if that's going to happen, and this is something that can impact the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to have 2 games on Saturday. Those got canceled. We're not going to make those back up.
If the strike leads to less soccer being played, then that's the silver lining for me.
Oh, my God.
Tony and Roselle.
I spoke with a teacher friend over the weekend, and besides the class sizes and the counselors that they're asking for, she said that there's no way a student in her class, it's virtually impossible for that child to get this disciplined and suspended. So if you've got these kids that are acting up and doing all these crazy things in school like kids do, there's no discipline for them. She's like, I wish we had school resource officers or counselors so I can get these idiots out of here so I can teach the rest of the kids. But apparently discipline's gone out the window.
That's right. Thanks for the call, Tony. That's right. Patrick in North Chicago.
Yeah, Dan, I'd just like to make a comment. The Catholic Church condemned socialism over 100 years ago for 3 reasons. 1, it robs people who've accumulated wealth. 2, it robs hope from people who want to accumulate wealth. And 3, it talks about the government's overreaching impact on our lives. That's too much.
And it makes government God, doesn't it? Thanks for the call, Patrick. And the church doesn't want God supplanted by the government. They're right on that.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mick Mulvaney and Chris Wallace go at it over Impeachment on Fox News Sunday. We'll have it at 6:06.
But first here, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A deadly triple shooting being investigated in Chicago. CPS classes are canceled again today, and the Saints top the Bears while the Caps edge the Hawks. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
They're still assessing the damage in Dallas. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After a tornado hit last night,
one whole wall of the garage and the garage door were taken off, the whole frame, and deposited in the alley behind the garage.
There's widespread damage to homes. Cars were tossed around, trees and power lines taken down.
My kids, my mom, my cousin, we're all just there praying. My husband, just praying to God that everything will be okay.
So far, no reports of deaths or serious injuries. Crews have been out looking for anyone trapped. More than 100,000 homes and businesses lost power. Turkey's military says Kurdish fighters keep pulling back during a ceasefire that'll expire tomorrow, and the Turks say the offensive will resume if the Kurds don't vacate that area. Defense Secretary Mark Esper's in Afghanistan says U.S. troops will ultimately pull back to Iraq, but for now will remain near oil fields in Syria.
A purpose of those forces, working with the SDF, is to deny access to those oil fields
by ISIS and others who may benefit from their revenues that could be earned.
The acting White House chief of staff continues to insist he didn't quite say something he said in the Ukraine controversy. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave Mick Mulvaney says the Trump administration withheld military aid to Ukraine because of corruption and a lack of help from other countries, not because of pressure to have the nation investigate 2016 election interference in the DNC server. Mulvaney telling Fox News Sunday.
Can I see how people took that the wrong way? Absolutely. But I never said there was a quid pro quo, because there isn't.
Last week, Mulvaney told reporters the money was held up temporarily because of corruption related to the DNC server. He's since been trying to walk back those comments. Dave?
Rachel, Democrats say the Mulvaney comments are further evidence for them in their impeachment inquiry. As for that server ending up in Ukraine as alleged, Congressman Jim Himes told CBS Face the Nation.
It's almost embarrassing to see the words White House behind the chief of staff peddling a completely rebuked crazy theory.
America's listening to Fox News.
.54 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Classes canceled again. The Chicago Public Schools as teachers continue to walk picket lines. CTU Chief of Staff Jennifer Johnson says talks last night ended with both sides reaching some agreement on a few issues.
We've been at the bargaining table for 10 months, and we're only seeing these concrete victories come together after having 25,000 members on picket lines, students and parents in the streets.
In other news on the education labor front, the Addison Teachers Association continues to prepare for a strike there. District 4 is at an impasse after Addison teachers declined the board's last best offer. Turning to other news this morning at 6:02, Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill facing a hearing that will set his fate. A former Indiana Supreme Court justice will begin proceedings today on the professional misconduct claims against Hill. Hill is accused of grabbing women at an Indianapolis bar. A teen boy is dead, 6 others hurt following a shooting and crash involving a police cruiser and ambulance on Chicago's west side. Federal authorities confirmed the death of former Chicago outfit boss Joseph Lombardo. Man known as the Clown died Saturday at the age of 90. He was serving a life sentence at a Colorado federal pen for a conviction in the landmark 2007 Family Secrets mob trial. Saints over the Bears, 36-25 at Soldier Field. Patrick Kane had a goal. Blackhawks still fell to the Capitals 5-3 at the UC. The news service of Indeed.com, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring, where business owners and HR pros post job openings with screener questions, then sort, review, and communicate with candidates from an online dashboard. Learn more at Indeed.com/hire. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets for Freedom Summit 2019 sold out in record time in response to the high demand. We've opened up an overflow room for attendees to watch the event on Saturday, November 2nd at the Westin Chicago Northwest. Overflow tickets are on sale now, but are selling fast. Get yours at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Woodland Windows and Doors, Automated Systems Incorporated, Joe Cotton Ford, HealthInsuranceMentors.com, and by Cromweedy Roofing.
When it comes to keeping your small business's valuable information safe, Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can recommend tailored security solutions like servers, storage, networking. Plus, right now, get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. Running your own small business is a big challenge, but with the right partner, it's a lot easier. To speak with an advisor today, call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time, so you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. 0% annual percentage rate. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
This is Attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649 or go to freeirsbook.com.
Hey Chicago, Geico now has even more ways to save you money. Kevin, your local Geico agent, is ready to deliver the personal service you need with savings you love. Stop by his local office on Cicero Avenue or call 773-582-8888 for Kevin, your local Geico agent.
6:06 AM 560 traffic center time. In for Jim, Eddie Manzano.
On the inbound Kennedy, pockets of delays from Canfield to Central, O'Hare to downtown 22 from Junction 10, express lanes at 8. On the outbound 2, O'Hare from downtown 31, slow from Central to Sayre, heavy from Cumberland to the extension. On the inbound Ike, stop and go from Wolf to Des Plaines, Thorndale to the post office 40, from Manheim 27, slow from Damon to Racine, outbound to Thorndale from the post office 29, no delays. Stevenson inbound 55 to Lakeshore Drive 40, delays from Harlem to Kinsey, outbound your problem is from Willow Springs to the Tri-State, LSD to the Tri-State 25 to 55 35. Inbound Dan Ryan slow from 95th to 87, picks up again at 18 to the Circle, 95th to downtown 18, express lanes delayed from 31st to the Stevenson. Outbound to 95th from downtown 15, express lanes flowing freely. 57 inbound and outbound on 15 from 80 Dan Ryan, Bishop Ford inbound, 8094 Dan Ryan 23, heavy from the Stony Island feeder to the Dan Ryan. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center time. And our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Windy, periods of rain today, the high 64. Clouds and breezy tonight and a low 45. Cloudy, breezy, and cool tomorrow. Shower in spots, high 51. And then partly sunny, breezy on Wednesday, the high near 58. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
54 at O'Hare, 51 Lakefront. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by AM Woodland Outdoor Design, luxury outdoor living. amwoodland.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Have you changed your position as it pertains to Trump's impeachment, which is probably forthcoming before the year's out?
Oh, yeah.
Have you changed your position based on the Mick Mulvaney excited utterance last week? Mick Mulvaney is chief of staff.
Temporary chief of staff. I mean, well,
and
I think he's going to be replaced soon, but
his chief of staff saying that in questioning back and forth at this briefing he had about his knowledge of the interplay between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine over aid, was perceived to have suggested that there was a quid pro quo based on assisting effectively with the look back at the 2016 election and Ukrainian meddling. What the left calls digging up dirt on your opponents. What the transcript suggests is cooperating with the DOJ investigation into the 2016 election. Very different things. It's being purposely, of course, mischaracterized by the press corps. But here's Mulvaney and Wallace, this exchange, and Mulvaney essentially restating what we discussed on Friday about the variables that informed the delay in the transference of aid to Ukraine that ultimately and importantly was transferred.
Why? Here's my first question. Why did you say in that briefing that President Trump had ordered a quid pro quo that investigating the Democrats, that aid to Ukraine depended on investigating the Democrats? Why'd you say that?
Again, that's not what I said. That's what people said that I said. Here's what I said. I'll say it again, and hopefully people will listen this time. There were two reasons that we held up the aid. We've talked about this at some length. The first one was the rampant corruption in Ukraine. Ukraine, by the way, Chris, is so bad in Ukraine that in 2014 Congress passed a law requiring us to make sure that corruption was moving in the right direction. So corruption's a big deal. Everybody knows it. The president was also concerned about whether or not other nations, specifically European nations, were helping with foreign aid to the Ukraine as well. We've talked about that for quite a while now. I did then mention that in the past, the president had mentioned for me to time about the DNC server. He'd mentioned the DNC server to other people publicly. He even mentioned it to President Zelensky in the phone call, but it wasn't connected to the aid, and that's where I think people got sidetracked this weekend at that press conference.
Yeah, so that's his explanation. Then he and Wallace go back and forth. You said two factors, but there you mentioned three at your briefing, the third being the cooperation with the DOJ investigation, and the story that, cooperating with the DOJ investigation, that's news to us, said some DOJ official. Well, of course it would be news to you. You don't have to necessarily communicate to the DOJ what you've communicated to President Zelensky. You're not supposed to be directing the DOJ investigation that is independent of even DOJ tapping U.S. Attorney John Durham to ride point on it. So if he was sort of setting up people and heads of state to talk to DOJ, then people would say, you're meddling with this DOJ investigation. You're directing the DOJ investigation, Mr. President. So again, you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't with these guys. But on the quid pro quo, quid pro no.
Once we were able to satisfy ourselves that corruption was actually, they were doing better with it, we got that information from our folks, from the conversation with Mr. Zelensky. And once we were able to establish, we had the Office of Management Budget do research on other countries' aid to Ukraine. It turns out they don't give hardly any lethal aid, but they do give a considerable sum of money in non-lethal aid. Once those two things were cleared, the money flowed. There was never any connection between the flow of money and the service.
But Mick.
Right. It is sort of an important point, and these bear repeating in the face of the mantra of the left and their D.C. press corps handmaidens. The money flowed.
Right.
Zelensky was unaware that the aid had been delayed. So, and the money flowed without anything in return. So, how could there be a quid pro quo if only one side is trying to effect a quid pro quo? If specific performance was made by one side without specific performance to consummate the quid pro quo on the other side? Mulvaney also addressed the John Bolton comment. John Bolton, per Fiona Hill's testimony, Fiona Hill worked for Bolton at NSA. John Bolton's alleged comment that he didn't want any part of the drug deal, quote unquote, metaphorical drug deal, that Mulvaney and Giuliani were cooking up with respect to Ukraine. Mulvaney addressed that.
Because I read that and I was surprised because John Bolton never complained to me about it. No one at NSC ever complained to me about anything that was going on. I didn't see Sondland's testimony this week because none of us have seen Sondland's testimony, which is another story entirely. I did get a chance to read his opening statement when he said that Bolton never complained to him. Fiona Hill never got a chance to complain to him. I think you need to put sort of a...
Wait a minute. Fiona Hill is the one who testified. That's the quote came from her.
Never complained to Sondland about what was happening when it was happening.
No, she complained to her boss, John Bolton.
Who did what?
Who told her to go immediately to a lawyer at the NSC and to complain about it.
Works for John Bolton. Yet John Bolton didn't go say anything to anybody. Doesn't that raise a red flag with it?
Yeah, I mean, again, if that quote from Fiona Hill attributed to John Bolton is correct, and if John Bolton was so concerned, why didn't he raise this issue with Mulvaney, with the President of the United States? He's the National Security Advisor. I mean, this is so much to do about nothing.
I know.
Andy
But
Biggs.
you shouldn't have gone on Fox News. I don't think Mick Mulvaney should have. He should have just let it go. Because they're going to keep asking about the quid pro quo.
Well, they're going to keep asking about it and prosecuting this anyway. Andy Biggs, who's a representative from Arizona, he's on the House Judiciary Committee, Republican, had a good op-ed in the Washington Examiner. The implication, right, and this is sort of the D.C. press corps facilitating this, the information coming out of these behind closed doors depositions, hearings, if you will, is horrifically damaging to President Trump. And he suggests the reality, if the information was truly damaging, Democrats would hold open hearings and would already have released transcripts of the testimonies. Trump did not ask the Ukrainian president to investigate a political opponent. The Trump administration has released the transcript of the phone call, of course. So why won't the Democrats operate as transparently as the White House if they've got the goods? I mean, what you certainly can't be worried about some sort of interference. That's why you do things in the open light of day, right? So that, hey, here it is. We're not going to let anybody beat us up in a back alley. We're not going to let people, we're not going to leave people to their imaginations. What they're trying to do is cook up the supporting evidence argument for a conclusion they drew on November 9th of 2016. And this is the latest iteration of that. And again, we're supposed to forget everything that they've done for 2.5 years on Russian collusion. We're supposed to forget the reporting that's been done on Ukrainian collusion with the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016. We're supposed to ignore, be uninterested in whatever John Durham finds about the 2016 look back. We're supposed to be aghast that the President of the United States would suggest that foreign countries that could be relevant, their heads of state, their relevant personnel, would cooperate with a DOJ investigation. This is impeachable stuff. I mean, this isn't even close. And the more hysterical they get, the more indication how far away they are substantively. They're covering the lack of evidence with histrionics. It's an old ploy. Lefty in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Blah, 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 blah.
I think I can translate.
Blah, 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 blah. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Do you want me to translate?
Thanks for the call. Yeah.
It was a bunch of gobbledygook is what he just said.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of noise.
The whole thing
interview.
or just
No, the whole
Mulvaney or my explanation of it or what?
No, Mulvaney going on Fox News.
Well, they're suggesting that Mulvaney should be impeached too.
I know, it's crazy. Well, let them
impeach everybody.
Impeach the world.
It's like
so sick of impeachment. I have an impeachment hangover.
Gary Oldman and The Professional. Bring me everybody. Impeach me everybody. John in Evergreen Park.
Hey, Dan, Amy hit the button right on the nail right on the head when she says, why do these people even bother to talk to anybody in the press when they're always trying to set traps for them? Why can't they keep their mouths shut and stay out of the limelight?
Well,
I'll listen for your answer.
Thanks for the call, John. I mean
after that, he should have just gone golfing, do something.
You have to confront and make arguments. I mean, you can't hide either. You have to make arguments. You have to present.
Well, he wasn't
your
hiding.
case.
I mean, he had a press conference at the White House, and
and that because of his imprecision with language and the back and forth with Jonathan Karl, he created a little controversy around himself that he needed to further explicate.
Right.
So, oh, by the way, in a story that nobody cares about, the State Department completed its internal investigation into former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of a private email and found violations by 38 people, some of whom may face disciplinary action. Oh, heavens, please, no. Violations, and some may face disciplinary action. No, let's not. No, let's not. They're violations, 38 people. Let's just give them, honest mistakes, I'm sure. The investigation, which was launched 3 years ago, 38 people culpable in 91 cases of sending classified information that ended up in Hillary Clinton's personal email, according to a letter that was sent to Republican Senator Chuck Grassley this week, released on Friday. The 38 are current and former State Department officials, but were not identified. Of course not. You don't want to hold anybody accountable by name. The Hillary Clinton spokesman said, the email story is put to bed with a clear recognition it was a pointless crusade that took away from so many other issues we should have been discussing in 16. It was pointless. It was this is remarkable to me. It's like Jim Comey when he gets the IG report that indicts him for abrogating his professional responsibilities as FBI director, and he celebrates it. Clean bill of health. I told you so. 38 people violated, at minimum, State Department protocols, perhaps the law. We don't know. The violations will be noted in their files. Oh, boy. Whoa. But 38 violations, 38 people, 91 violations. And the Hillary Clinton, I told you there was nothing to see there. What? Just amazing, their ability to say, look, well, you've been convicted of a crime. I told you I didn't do it. I can beat him again. I won the election in 2016. I mean, it really is impressive, their ability to create a whole different reality around themselves, where the conclusions that are drawn, the evidence that presented, just doesn't matter if it doesn't fit our story. I told you there was nothing there. I mean, boy, at some depraved level, you got to respect their gutsiness. Isn't that the name of the book?
Yeah. Gutsy women.
Alpha team, man down, man down. I told you. Manny, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone! This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting TOP to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 LASIK surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago. And we're offering 20% off our already low-cost services.
What's that text again?
Text TOP to 350350. That's TOP to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
All right, you want your basement to be dry most of the time? Then don't call Permaseal. Permaseal thinks you should have a dry basement, and most people do, all of the time, no matter how hard it rains. Roy Spencer started Permaseal back in 1979, and it's still a local Chicagoland family business doing the right thing and standing behind their work. You can have a permanently dry basement, folks, so give them a call. I think you know the number, 800-421-SEAL. They offer a free estimate, no haggle pricing, and a price assurance guarantee, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best value. 1-800-421-SEAL, that's the number to call. 800-421-7325. If you want me to spell it out for you. Or you can go to permaseal.net. That's permaseal.net.
Oh, wow!
It can't be.
Oh, yes, yes, yes!
Oh, where have you been? If you snore, the first time you use Mute can be quite an experience.
I can breathe! I can breathe!
Snoring can happen when your nose is blocked, forcing you to breathe through your mouth. Mute is a comfortable nasal breathing device designed to increase airflow through the nose by gently opening the airways. Thanks to Mute, you get all the air you need through your nose and not your mouth, which means less snoring and more chance of sleep.
Oh, that's the best night I've had in years.
In trials, 75% of couples reported a reduction in snoring when using Mute. Available at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and other fine stores. To find your local store or for more information, go to mutesnoring.com. Mute. Breathe more, snore less, sleep better.
It is October. Yes, fall is here. The leaves are starting to change colors. And for you, maybe you're starting to feel like your energy level is falling. Maybe you're having trouble sleeping, or maybe you have seasonal allergies. Here's what we do know. Admit it, you're not getting enough fruits and veggies in your diet. Pumpkin spice in your latte does not count as a vegetable, folks. So it's time to get healthy before the holiday season starts. Do what I started doing, and that's take Balance of Nature. With just 6 capsules of Balance of Nature, you're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. You hear people's stories here all the time on the station about how Balance of Nature has changed people's lives. I even met a man who's been taking Balance of Nature for 5 years. And I said, well, have you noticed a difference? And he said, well, I don't feel any older. And he started taking Balance of Nature 5 years ago. And who can say that? He doesn't have any aches and pains. He doesn't have trouble sleeping. So why don't you give Balance of Nature a try? Call this number, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy were talking about, impeachment. And by the way, just so you understand how central this is to everything the left wants to communicate, Vox.com,
Yes.
left out, Impeachment Explained, a new podcast series.
Oh, really?
You're not launching a new podcast product if you don't think this is has at least a runway through November of 2020. Bill on our Northwest Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. To add a little levity to the show, there was a movie in 1964 called Guide for the Married Man. It starred, among other people, Walter Matthau and Joey Bishop of the Rat Pack.
Oh, sure.
And in the opening scene of the movie, Joey Bishop's wife, played by Millie, who is on the Dick Van Dyke Show, the neighbor's wife, Millie walks in. Millie's kind of a drab-looking woman. She walks into the bedroom with a bag of groceries, and her husband, Joey Bishop, is in bed with the equivalent of a Playboy Playmate. And Millie says, "What's that woman doing in bed with you?" And Joey Bishop goes, "What woman? I don't know what you're talking about." And meanwhile, the woman gets out of bed and starts dressing. And she puts on all her clothes.
Right.
And Millie keeps on accusing her husband, Joey Bishop, what is that woman doing here? And Joey Bishop keeps repeating, "What woman?" And meanwhile, he pulls out a newspaper and a pipe, and he starts smoking his pipe and reading the newspaper in bed. And the woman, the hot woman, walks out of the bedroom past Millie, the wife, and gives a little toodaloo signal and says goodbye. And at the end of it, Millie is like so stunned by Joey Bishop's denial that she just starts to believe she's going crazy. And this is like Joe Biden getting caught on tape committing real, actual extortion upon Ukraine, and the Democrats have turned it into an impeachment process against President Trump. Like, what extortion? Biden did. What extortion about Biden? What are you talking about? But it's on tape. He's bragging about it.
I know that tape couldn't be played
it's
enough.
the same thing as Guide for the Married Man. But thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Yeah, the Democrats are Joey Bishop and Guide to the Married Man. I mean, on a range front, Hillary, I just can't get over this. 38 people found to have violated at minimum State Department protocols, 91 violations.
91.
We told you this was pointless. We told you this was a crusade. We told you you were making stuff up about Hillary and a private server. 38 people at the State Department. The AP reported it at least.
Well, is anything going to happen to them?
Yeah, some of them may have
oh, that's right, something in their file.
A demerit put in their permanent record. It's
and those things
James Comey, get clean bill of health. You failed to abide your professional responsibilities as FBI director. Hooray!
Celebrate me.
I told you there was nothing to see here.
It's just the way they sell it. That's all it is. Because people are stupid and lazy and don't read the rest of the report.
What woman?
That's what's going on. Yeah.
What woman? Perfect. Exactly.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we're going to talk to Joseph O'Call. He's a math teacher and a chess coach at Earl STEM Academy, and he's crossed the picket line in the teacher strike at 6:36.
And what to do about our superintendent, who we now found out was drinking before he passed out and fell asleep in his car. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
53 degrees at 6:30 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. U.S. forces moving into Iraq from Syria. A cameraman for Reuters this morning reports more than 100 armored vehicles have crossed the border. There's reason for this repositioning, according to Defense Secretary Mark Esper.
Just got in. The current game plan is for those forces to reposition into western Iraq, and then to two missions. One is to help defend Iraq, and two is to perform a counter-ISIS mission as we sort through the next steps.
Dallas will start to clean up today after a tornado plowed a 17-mile path of destruction through the north suburbs of Dallas Sunday night. Damage is widespread across the area. Yami Leah was with her family when the storm passed directly over their home.
Just got in the hallway and held each other. My kids, my mom, my cousin. I mean, we're all just there praying. My husband, just praying to God that everything will be okay.
A landmark federal opioid trial begins today. About 2,400 state and local governments are going after makers of opioid painkillers over what they call an epidemic that killed around 400,000 people between 1999 and 2017. A section of the Hard Rock Hotel that was the site of a deadly construction collapse earlier this month in New Orleans is being raised. Crews used explosives yesterday to bring down one of the two cranes still standing at the site. 3 were killed, dozens more injured when a large section of that hotel fell October 12th. Classes are canceled again at Chicago Public Schools. Teachers continue to walk picket lines. There have been some minor agreements on issues, according to the Chicago Teachers Union Chief of Staff, Jennifer Johnson. Addison teachers continue to prepare for a strike. ATA's current contract expired June 30th. District 4 teachers are at an impasse after they declined the board's last best offer. Federal authorities confirmed the death of former Chicago outfit boss Joseph the Clown Lombardo. And the operators of a sheet metal fabrication company are accused of hiring undocumented workers at their facility in Streamwood. Several members of the Kozelka family face charges of knowingly harboring illegal aliens and then engaging in a pattern of practice of hiring illegal aliens at KSO Metal Fab in 2017. Cubs could be close to hiring a new manager. Houston Astros bench coach Joe Espada traveled to Chicago yesterday for his second interview with the club. Saints over the Bears, 36-25 at Soldier Field. Blackhawks fell to the Capitals 5-3 at the UC. Bulls gearing up for their season opener Wednesday night in Charlotte. The news service of InvisibleFence.com. Protect your pets from leaving your yard at a fraction of the cost of a privacy fence. Now until October 31st. Save $315 on Boundary Plus technology, only from Invisible Fence brand. Go to InvisibleFence.com today and save. InvisibleFence.com. 6:33 is our time, and we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees another scam from the Democrats.
I got an idea. Vote on impeachment. Get it underway. Vote. And without a vote, nobody from the White House, the State Department, or the Trump administration should be testifying before this kangaroo court. The president is right. It's a scam.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank. I'd like to thank our customers for selecting Signature as their trusted banking partner to help build their businesses. We started Signature in 2006, and we've had the opportunity to meet so many hardworking Chicagoans. From third-generation family-owned businesses on the west side of Chicago to tech innovators at 1871. Signature Bank is proud to work across many different industries in the city and beyond. As the fastest growing, independently owned business bank in Chicago, Signature is always welcoming new customers. I'd love to meet you and learn about your business.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get big savings on a furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
How can a fully stocked restroom improve your image? How can serviced fire extinguishers or a first aid cabinet make your employees more prepared? How can comfortable work apparel make your business more productive? For over 1 million customers, the answer is simple. Cintas. Cintas delivers everything you need to open your doors with confidence. Because helping keep businesses well-equipped, clean, and looking their best, that's our business. Oh, I'm ready! Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
It is 6:36 in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Let's get an update on that ride to work. In for Jim this morning, it's Eddie Manzano.
Inbound Edens, a slight delay from Peterson to Foster from Lake Cook to the junction at 23, outbound 19. Inbound Kennedy, pockets of delays from Cumberland to Washington. O'Hare to downtown 28 from the junction 12, express lanes at 9. Inbound express lane slow from Ogden to Ohio. On the outbound, brake lights from Foster to the extension, out to O'Hare from downtown at 40. Inbound Ike slow from Manheim to Harlem, Thorndale to the post office 35, outbound 32, delays from Central to Des Plaines. Inbound Stevenson heavy from Central to Kedzie, 35 to Lakeshore Drive 45, outbound 55, slow from Pulaski to Cicero. Inbound Dan Ryan, stop and go from Cermak to the Circle, 95th to downtown 22, outbound 15, no delays. Inbound 57, sluggish from 127th to 115th, 80 Dan Ryan 17. Inbound Bishop Ford at 21 from 8094 Dan Ryan. That's traffic. I'm Eddie Manzano on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, a windy day ahead. Periods of rain crop up and a high of 64. Currently 55. Next news coming up at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We have another few days, I suspect, of Chicago teacher strike theater before you have Lori Lightfoot fully cave to their demands. I mean, their real demands, not their stated demands. But before that, you've got the encouraging notes from over the weekend. You know, this is the script that we remember, if you were paying attention, from 2012. They're hardening. This could be a long one. We're fine on the financial stuff for our terms of salaries and benefits, but what we really need is all these new personnel for the students, because it's all about the kids. It's always all about the kids. And then there's a little give from the mayor's office, and that's that's a hopeful note, and there'll be a little bit more give, and then we'll settle this and walk away, and nothing will change in terms of the quality of education that's actually provided in most of the Chicago public schools. So that's sort of the trajectory we're on, and that's what you heard a little bit over the weekend.
Yeah, here's CTU Chief of Staff Jennifer Johnson, who said, Dan, they could have settled this back in September.
Sure.
It shouldn't take being on strike to get the needs of our students met. But again, as we've said repeatedly, we are looking for a just contract.
Yeah, it's all about being just. And I'm a little programming note, or a little advice from Amy, which is going to be my new segment, Advice from Amy, in 10 seconds or less. If you're a teacher on strike, please don't paste on Facebook pictures of you and other striking teachers drinking bubblies at 10:30 in the morning after you get off the picket lines. Just,
Why not do that?
It makes me just, it's all about the children, and they're getting hammered.
Yeah, you
at 10:30 in the morning on Thursday and Friday, while I'm taking about 80 kids under my wing, paying for gym time to keep practicing so that we don't get slaughtered when we come back to school and play a game. So we're ready to go.
You should thank them for posting those pictures, because they're telling you who they are. We know not all teachers think the same way about the teachers' union, about the strike, about K through 12 education generally. One of them who thinks a little bit differently than at least what you hear from the leadership of the Chicago Teachers Union, and frankly, the administration side too, is Joseph O'Call, who's a math teacher and chess coach with Earl STEM Academy in West Englewood. You may remember Joseph O'Call. We've had him on the show before. In fact, a couple years ago, thanks to the generosity of our listeners, we raised a few $1,000s for his chess teams at Earl STEM. And this was when, remarkably, they were trying to eliminate his chess teams at Earl STEM Academy for these young, mainly African-American kids. Why would you want to do that? This is insane. But you know what the Chicago Teachers Union really doesn't like more than anything? What? Being shown up, being exposed for what their real interests are and what their real operation is. And it's an ideological agenda that has passing connection to educating children, as we've seen over and over and over again. But that doesn't mean that the majority of Chicago doesn't get gaslighted by that agitprop you just heard from CTU's chief of staff. Well, how about a different perspective from somebody on the other side of the wall, as it were? Joseph O'Call, again, middle school math teacher, after-school chess coach, Earl STEM Academy, West Englewood. Joseph, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Quinn. Good morning, Amy. Good morning.
Now you're not a member of the union anymore because of the Janus decision. You were able to opt out, right?
Well, in 2016, there was this one-day walkout, and I decided to be with my students. I decided to cross the picket line to be with my students because I promised them that whatever happens, I'll be with them because we need to also practice in chess because we were hoping to compete in the 2016 National Chess Tournament. And I think I made the right decision because 3 weeks after we won the national championship for the all-girls chess tournament. And I guess it was a vindication. However, I got expelled. They asked me to explain, and I did explain. I said, I don't see the relevance or the direct correlation between the teacher's pay, increasing demand for teacher's pay, and the benefit to the student. So I said, we're supposed to be teachers, and as a teacher, I just want to be with my students. I should not be outside the classroom. I have nothing against the union, but I have something against the method of pursuing their demands, where they dangle the plight of the students in the middle of the fight. And I just don't believe that, because there could be other ways, and there are other ways to fight City Hall, but you don't have to dangle the students, leave them, and us being teachers, leaving the students, neglecting the students.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr.
That doesn't make sense.
What have you been doing the last 3 days for this strike? Have you been in your classroom, and are you, teaching students?
Yes, I've been in my classroom, and we've been practicing. I've been getting them to do some puzzles, some classwork, some activities, including physical activities in the gym.
Well, it's got to be.
I just feel that I should be with my students.
Yeah, it's got to be peaceful in the faculty lounge these days. You got that going for you. I just want to be clear. Are you a member of CTU or not?
I'm no longer a member, but however, under the law, I'm supposed to pay a certain amount to the union, considering that I'm also getting some of the benefits that I guess they bargained for. But I brought the union to the, I filed a complaint against them because after they expelled me, they kept on deducting union dues much higher than what I'm supposed to pay, much higher than other members of the union. And for the next 8 to 9 months, they kept on deducting. So I filed the case in court. And that's how I managed to get them to stop that, and I managed to also provide some information that some diehard members were bullying me. So I went to court, and I think the union should go to court if there's basis for their demands. It should not be going to the streets. They should go to court because, after all, we're a nation of court. We're a nation of laws.
Not so
there
much
has
in
to be
Chicago.
ways.
Yeah, not really in Chicago.
So, do you have a school nurse at your middle school, and do you have a counselor? And if not, do you think one is needed?
We have a school nurse who comes, but I guess it's not every day. But I just want to point out that in my school, we're about 30 teachers. There's only one who got an oversized class, and this has even been remedied. Most of us have undersized class, undersized. So actually, we don't have enough students. And I think that's the trend in the rest of Chicago public schools. We don't have enough students. So we're losing in terms of student population. It's decreasing.
Yeah.
So what's the issue? I mean, I think we should be campaigning even for more students.
Yeah, well,
but we have a lot of teachers with undersized classes.
Sure,
not oversized classes.
It's going to be a tough campaign.
Exaggeration here.
Yeah, it's a tough campaign to keep people in Chicago, much less attract them to move here. Yeah, that's a real problem. It's interesting. I'm glad you said that because it certainly runs counter to what you're hearing from the Chicago Teachers Union. To no surprise, I wonder of those 30 teachers at Earl STEM Academy and other teachers, colleagues of yours in the Chicago public school system. What are your conversations with them like about the strike, about the positions that you've taken, about teaching in CPS? Can you give us some insights there?
I have been having a cordial relationship with most of them. They understand my stand. I explained to them my stand. I said I just want to be my students. That's the bottom line. I just want to be with them. We are teachers. We have a responsibility to our students. I joined Chicago Public Schools as a teacher, not to be a union member. First and foremost, my responsibility is to my students, not with my peers, not in the streets, but inside my classroom. That's the bottom line. Now, there are other ways to fight City Hall. I have nothing against the union, but I have something against their method of pursuing their demands.
And by the way,
just demands always in the streets.
Yeah, just as a point of order, you said you're still paying union dues. I mean, under the Janus decision, you don't have to pay fair share if you don't want to.
I've been deducted fair share for some time.
Well,
but
you should get that money back.
But I think there's also a recent decision by the Supreme Court that no one can be compelled to be a member of the union.
That's right,
Janus. Because I'm working for CPS. I'm working for CPS. I'm not working for the union.
Okay.
I'm working for CPS, and I'm a teacher there.
All right.
Well, have any of the fellow teachers want to join you in getting out of the union?
Well, I don't know yet, but what I heard is that there are also other teachers who didn't join the strike. But in my school, I'm the only teacher who didn't join the strike.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I had my students, and the students, the number of students has been increasing. We have more students last Friday, so I think today no classes, but I'll get more students. I'll get more students. I think a number of them has realized this ridiculousness of the strike, where they lose. It's the students who lose this fight. This is the kind of fight that should not have been after all done.
Joseph O'Call, Earl STEM Academy. How's the chess team? Your chess teams doing there? I know this program was off and running a few years ago, and as you mentioned, you were winning championships with your girls and whatnot. How is it going?
The girls did.
Well, last school year, we won 4th place in the nationals.
Nice.
And we were the only CPS school that won in the 2016 National Junior High chess tournament. So three of my kids also won individual medals. The only CPS students and the only CPS school.
Do you know offhand how many CPS schools have chess programs like Earl STEM does because of you?
I don't know, but I know the number of teams has been increasing for some time.
That's good.
Other schools, they have been also doing their own programs with practice. The challenge that we face actually is on the funding. So I told the kids, just keep on hoping and keep on praying, but we should not be demanding. It's not the way to, you just have to prove and show to the world that you can earn it, and show to the world that if you be given the opportunity to shine, you can shine.
Yeah,
you
no,
have to be demanding. You have to do it.
Yeah. It's remarkable that the Cans seem to scrape together a few shekels for a chess program at Earl STEM Academy, and how important that is and how successful it's been under your stewardship. Can't find money for that while we're talking about 16% raises and a couple $2 billion in support staff personnel and so forth. Can't seem to find a couple grand for the chess program at Earl STEM. Isn't that interesting?
Thank you for it's a number of donors came and helped us in the past.
Yes.
So I'm just hoping that we'll have another opportunity to be able to compete this school year.
What do the parents say? What do the parents say? The kids that you coach. What do they say about that program and what's going on at Earl STEM?
Oh, they're so proud because for the past 4 years, the valedictorians, the salutatorians of our school are chess players. There's a direct correlation between chess and the academics.
Yeah.
Because in chess, it's not just about the game. It's about life. You teach them about life, the values of life. Every piece in the chess board has something to do with life. It has some representation about how it is. It's like the pawn. That's the lowest. It's the lowest. We can relate ourselves. I mean, I told my students we can relate ourselves as a pawn. But of all the pieces on the chessboard, the pawn is the only one that can become the most powerful piece, and can become a queen, and the queen can be the most powerful one.
Yes,
so,
amen.
I like. That's a great metaphor. No, I like. It's very
love
good.
it.
I like. What about maybe we should do like a big event where like one of your top chess players takes on Deep Blue like Gary Kasparov did. Some kind of event to draw more attention to the chess program. What do you think?
Well, we're hoping we'll get that opportunity. I tell my kids that just be thankful that we get some blessings and keep on thanking. Yeah, we cannot get everything in this world, and that's what I want to relate to the union. This is not just about money. This is not just about power, grabbing power. No, I mean, look at the blessings, not just all the problems. But first and foremost, just don't peddle lies and exaggerations, and where you dangle the kids' pride. These losses that the kids are having, it's difficult really to recover that. They lost this instructional time for some time now. And how do you recover that?
Joseph, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just hope that this strike will, people will come to their senses that it's the students that are losing here. Not the adults, the students.
Joseph O'Call, a math teacher and chess coach at Earl STEM Academy in West Englewood. Joseph, thanks for joining us. Good to catch up with you. Good to hear that you're still doing that great work and the kids are taken to chess. And hopefully they'll get back. All of them will get back formally under your leadership and mentorship here soon. But we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak.
And the only teacher still teaching during this 3-day strike. He joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. President Trump taps new energy secretary. Johnson & Johnson recalls some baby powder, and Walgreens ramping up drone delivery experiments. Those stories next.
Hi, this is Dennis Prager, and again, the Prager Store has put together something new. They have compiled every male-female hour since 2010. We've had topics and calls about marriage, kids, dating, intimacy, fidelity, the truths about what a woman needs, what a man needs. Also includes every segment with my friend and relationship expert, Allison Armstrong. I've done this segment for years. Now you can listen to all of them dating back to 2010. These hours have literally saved marriages. I wish I could read to you all the emails I have received and what people tell me at every speech. The couple will come over with a smile and thank me for what the male-female hour has done for their marriage. Or even gotten people to get married to begin with. For a limited time, the complete collection, 10 years of the Male-Female Hour, 50% off. Available on flash drives or as a download. Go to pragerstore.com.
President Trump nominating Deputy Energy Secretary Dan Brulette to replace his boss, Rick Perry, when Perry steps down at the end of the year. Consumer giant Johnson & Johnson recalling 33,000 bottles of its baby powder after government tests found trace amounts of asbestos in one bottle. The recall comes as Johnson & Johnson is defending itself in thousands of lawsuits charging its baby powder has been linked to ovarian cancer. Walgreens partnering with a Google affiliate testing the use of drones to deliver to customers. Drone deliveries began Friday in one Virginia town, and if successful, the drugstore chain may expand deliveries regionally. The drone company Wing says it's had successful tests in both Australia and New Zealand. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
The following statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Amberen trials tested mild to moderate symptoms. Testimonials based on 90 days of use. Results may vary. IRI US MULO 52 weeks 71419 by UPC MLVO.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou Retton. When I competed in gymnastics, I used to love to talk about my health, my energy, and my will to win gold. But today, I want to talk to you about something I used to keep private. My menopause. Between my hot flashes and night sweats, and worse, my constant fatigue, I felt like a stranger in my own life. Nothing I tried could give me relief until I discovered Amberen.
Amberen is clinically shown to relieve 12 menopause symptoms. Amberen is not a drug and is 100% estrogen-free and clinically tested.
Thanks to Amberen now, my energy is back, and those days of fearing hot flashes and night sweats are gone. I feel like myself again. Amberen works. It really works.
Hurry to your Walmart, Walgreens, Target, and other fine stores and see why Amberen is America's #1 menopause relief supplement.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I've seen it in my lab and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true, and it's only natural.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Balance of Nature is now offering a 35% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This offer may end at any time, so don't wait to start Dr. Howard's Health Challenge. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The Hillary Tulsi Gabbard flap. We'll discuss it with Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano from Heritage Foundation at 7:07.
And later, the Bernie blowout in Queens. He's got a new lady friend. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A deadly triple shooting in Chicago. CPS classes canceled again today as teachers walk picket lines. Saints top the Bears, Caps edge the Hawks, and the Bulls open their regular season this week in Charlotte. Windy with rain in your forecast. WIND, Chicago News Time, 7.
The sun will shed light on just how much damage there is. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Go in the tornado!
That's video Bubba Science posted on Twitter after the Dallas area was twisted apart. Homes damaged. This woman's garage took a direct hit.
And 4 windows and 3 trees we lost.
As dawn breaks, search crews will go back out looking for anyone in duress. So far, no deaths or serious injuries have been reported. More than 100,000 homes and businesses lost power, and the tornado damage also extends into Oklahoma and Arkansas. Defense Secretary Mark Esper is again defending the president's decision to pull U.S. forces back in Syria, saying Turkey was going to invade and they chose not to stand in the way of a NATO ally, even though the Kurds who were being targeted by Turkey were American allies in the fight against ISIS. Now, at some point, U.S. troops will all leave Syria. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, U.S. troops in Syria will be heading to Iraq for a counter-ISIS campaign. But before they do, they'll remain in Syria to defend oil fields from terrorists. Defense Secretary Mark Esper laid out the game plan while in Afghanistan.
This withdrawal will take weeks, not days. Until that time, our forces will remain in the towns that are located near the oil fields.
Esper was traveling as Kurdish fighters in Syria accused Turkey of violating a negotiated ceasefire set to expire tomorrow. Dave.
And Rachel, Turkey's warning if Kurdish forces in Syria don't pull back from an area near the border by that time the ceasefire ends, it'll resume a military offensive. In New Orleans, that was the sound of 2 huge construction cranes being blown up in a controlled explosion to help stabilize the hotel building site that partially collapsed a week ago, killing 3 construction workers. But 2 bodies have not been recovered yet. New Orleans Fire Chief Tim McConnell says
the recovery will be successful. We'll get to them. The question becomes, what's it going to take to do it?
The first federal trial in the opioid crisis of drug overdoses and deaths starts today in Ohio. 2 counties taking out drug companies. America's listening to Fox News.
54 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Classes canceled again at Chicago Public Schools as teachers continue to walk picket lines. Chicago Teachers Union Chief of Staff Jennifer Johnson says talks ended last night with both sides reaching some small agreements.
We've been at the bargaining table for 10 months, and we're only seeing these concrete victories come together after having 25,000 members on picket lines, students and parents in the streets.
Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill faces a hearing today that will set his fate. Former Indiana Supreme Court Justice will start proceedings on the professional misconduct claims against Hill. If the judge finds in favor of the women who've accused Hill of grabbing backsides at an Indianapolis bar, he could lose his license to practice law. Hill strongly denies the claims. Authorities investigating a deadly triple shooting in Chicago's Austin neighborhood. Meantime, a teen boy is dead and 6 others are hurt following a shooting and crash that involved a police cruiser and ambulance on Chicago's west side. Illinois lawmakers are taking some steps toward setting price controls for insulin in the state. Central Illinois State Senator Andy Maynard is one of many who say they want to limit out-of-pocket prices for insulin to $100 a vial. Saints over the Bears, 36-25 at Soldier Field. Patrick Kane had a goal, but the Blackhawks still fell to the Capitals 5-3 at the UC. The news service of Famous Footwear. Famous Footwear is now open at Gurney Mills in Gurnee. Visit their grand opening celebration for your chance to win shoes for a year, only for a limited time. And find hundreds of top styles for the whole family at Famous Footwear. 7:03, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets for Freedom Summit 2019 sold out in record time in response to the high demand. We've opened up an overflow room for attendees to watch the event on Saturday, November 2nd at the Westin Chicago Northwest. Overflow tickets are on sale now, but are selling fast. Get yours at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Woodland Windows and Doors, Automated Systems Incorporated, Joe Cotton Ford, HealthInsuranceMentors.com, and by Crown Weedy Roofing.
When it comes to keeping your small business's valuable information safe, Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can recommend tailored security solutions like servers, storage, networking. Plus, right now, get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. Running your own small business is a big challenge, but with the right partner, it's a lot easier. To speak with an advisor today, call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DEL.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time, so you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. 0% annual percentage rate. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
I'm Gary Rabine of the Rabine Group and the podcast Ditch Digger CEO. One of my favorite things to do is golf at our exclusive Bull Valley Golf Club in Woodstock. Just 55 minutes northwest of O'Hare and 35 minutes south of Lake Geneva. 5 minutes from the Metro line. 250 acres of amazing terrain, oak and red pine forest, native prairie and marsh. It feels like you played 4 different courses in 18 holes. Golf Digest rated Bull Valley the 30th most challenging championship-style golf course in America. One of the best courses in Illinois, and the track the best golfers want to play. Good golfers, Bull Valley will make you great. Bad golfers like me, Bull Valley will make you better. A world-class staff and 2 amazing teaching pros, simulators, and a beautiful instructional range. I've got the greatest offer on the planet in private championship golf. If you live in or near Chicago, join our Chicago membership in the next 10 days and get 18 months for $2,500. You heard it, $2,500 to be a member until April 2021. Email Gary at bullvalleygolfclub.com and play championship golf tomorrow. That's Gary at bullvalleygolfclub.com.
Staples gives your business more for less. It's where you find the best printers at great prices. Right now, get up to $200 off the HP LaserJet Pro 400 series. Staples for your business tech and beyond. In-store only, ends 11/16/19. See store or staples.com/HP 400 series for details.
7:06 AM 560 traffic center time. In for Jim, Eddie Manzano.
Inbound Eden's heavy from Devon to the junction from Lake Cook to 26, outbound 21. Inbound Kennedy brake lights from Cumberland to Lawrence, O'Hare to downtown 43. From the junction 19, express lanes at 20, outbound to O'Hare from downtown 46. Inbound Ike stop and go from Manheim to Harlem. Thorndale to the post office at 40 minutes on the outbound, also 40, sluggish from Central to 25th Avenue. Inbound Stevenson, heavy from Central to Kedzie, 55 to Lakeshore Drive 45, outbound 40. Slow from Pulaski to Central. Inbound Dan Ryan, heavy from the Stevenson to the Circle, 95th to downtown 24, outbound 15. Inbound 57, brake lights from 107 to the Dan Ryan, 80 to Dan Ryan 22, outbound 15. Bishop Ford inbound, brake lights from 103rd to the Dan Ryan, 894 Dan Ryan 25, outbound 15. I'm Eddie Manzano, and that's traffic on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer is next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Periods of rain. It'll be a windy day. The high today at 64. Clouds and breezy tonight, low 45. For tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, and cool. Shower in spots, high 51. Partly sunny, breezy on Wednesday, the high 58. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
55 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Hillary Clinton and Tulsi Gabbard getting into this. Maybe they'll soon be able to get into this on a debate stage when Hillary Clinton enters the race for president, hopefully before the year's out. Hillary Clinton on this podcast with David former Obama flack. He's got a podcast.
With his work.
Oh, yeah. Now he turned out to be a capitalist. Went to work for Uber, among other clients. Hillary Clinton on Tulsi Gabbard. You know, anybody who is not on board with the leftist orthodoxy, you know what they are. They're a Russian asset.
I think it's going to be the same as 2016. Don't vote for the other guy. You don't like me? Don't vote for the other guy because the other guy's going to do X, Y, and Z, or the other guy did such terrible things. And I'm going to show you in these, flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. But you're going to see them, and you're going to see that person doing these horrible things. They're also going to do third party again. And I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
Agent,
yeah, she's a Russian asset. I mean, totally. And so they know they can't win without a third-party candidate. And so I don't know who it's going to be, but I will guarantee you they'll have a vigorous third-party challenge in the key states that they most need it.
Tulsi Gabbard is Jill Stein as Russian asset third party 2020. Tulsi Gabbard didn't take too kindly to the obvious reference to her.
She didn't take long to respond either. It was great.
Calling Hillary Clinton the rod of the Democrat Party, a Madam Warmonger, and releasing this video statement.
People warned me in 2016 that my endorsement of Bernie Sanders would be the end of my quote-unquote political career. They said Clinton will never forget that she and her rich and powerful friends, her allies in politics and in the media, will make sure that you are destroyed. Well, there have been countless hit pieces full of smears against me from day one of this campaign. They've tried to destroy my reputation and my lifetime of service because I stood up to them. I've spent over 16 years of my life proudly serving in the Army National Guard. I still serve as a major today. I volunteered to deploy to the Middle East twice. I've served in Congress now for nearly 7 years, serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, and I am not afraid to openly express my love for our country. But if they can falsely portray me as a traitor, then they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that's exactly the message that they want to get across to you. That if you stand up against Hillary and the party power brokers, if you stand up to the rich and powerful elite and the war machine, they will destroy you and discredit your message. But here is the truth. They will not intimidate us. They will not silence us. We are not here just to protest their corruption. I am running for president to take the Democratic Party and our country back from the corrupt elite. I'm running for president to bring about a new Democratic Party and new leadership that will fight for peace, fight for the people, and protect our planet. So I want to ask every single one of you to join me in speaking truth to power. Don't be afraid. Let's root out the corruption in our party and our country. Join me to end the war machine's stranglehold over our leaders and ensure that our government is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Sound like a third-party candidate to you?
Not really.
A Russian plant, Dan?
I also, it's fun. I mean, I enjoy the Manchurian Candidate as much as the next guy.
Yes.
But when you're going to accuse people of being traitors, of committing treason, or being groomed to commit treason, maybe they were programmed, and so they don't even know they're committing treason. Whatever your conspiracy theory is, I like to see some evidence, maybe. Especially after we've gone through 2.5 years of accusing the President of the United States of being a traitor, committing treason, being the Manchurian Candidate for Putin, Putin's man in D.C., sans evidence. I don't know. That's me, though. I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to that. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation, author of books including Wiki at War and Private Sector Public Wars. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you.
So what do you think? How concerned should we be that the Russians may get their hands on Tulsi and prevent Hillary Clinton from being president again?
Yeah, well, I do policy, not politics. I don't comment on candidates and what candidates do. I will say I don't think the Russians have a lot of assets in the United States. I mean, we all know that Russians have tried to interfere with U.S. elections, and they've had very targeted influence campaigns. What I don't see a lot of is where's the evidence that Russian meddling actually moves the needle here? Not that we shouldn't hold the Russians accountable, not that it's not a really bad thing, but 330 million Americans who I think are more than capable of making up their minds for themselves. And so sometimes I think we kind of overplay this Russian concern and to essentially elevate our own politics. And I think this is the message here is things have become so cutthroat. People are so over the top that basically now, in order to get heard in the noise, you can say anything about anybody without a shred of credibility, and everybody just says, well, that's just politics. That's okay. So we've lost this sense of kind of responsible decorum that we used to have in American politics.
And Hillary Clinton sounded so vile and so, this gross accusation that she made. Is it a possibility? Do you think that she might still run for president in 2020?
I have no idea because I really don't follow politics that closely. I do find it interesting that what people accuse Trump of, they do in spades in terms of just completely jumping the shark in their rhetoric, and then they turn right around and they hit him for the same thing. The reason why I think we've been so successful in kind of analyzing the administration, what their policies are, the real impact they have, is just kind of trying to shut the rhetoric out and recognize it for what it is, and look at what people actually do. So we could talk about Gabbard's foreign policy, which I actually think is horrible. I think 99% of her foreign policy proposals are nuts.
Well, let's mention that
but that's a different issue, right?
Well,
that's the real issue.
Yeah, let's mention that just for a minute, because I made this point last week. Like, just because she's not liked by CNN, the New York Times, and Hillary Clinton, and is liked by Trey Gowdy, doesn't make her substantively interesting. And I talk most specifically about some of her views on domestic politics, but talk to us a little bit about her national security chops now that she's under a little bit more scrutiny.
Well, I think there is, and it's not Democrat, it's not Republican. There is a wing of, foreign policy in this town or in the country that believes that the answer is to just walk away from everything, right? That, we shouldn't be here, we shouldn't be there, and we should just pull all the troops home and mind our own business. The problem with that logic is, we actually tried that under the Obama administration, where we tried walking away from everything, and all we did was create space and gaps for bad guys to fill and make life harder for it. Even the criticism on Trump in Syria is a bit off base. We're not, and again, the rhetoric aside of whatever the president might or might not have said, we moved troops from northern Syria to western Iraq. In terms of our fundamental missions that we're doing in Syria, fight counterterrorism, that's just a line in the sand. That is not strategically much of a difference, and it's certainly not walking away from the Middle East. So I just think, foreign policies are just myopically, let's just walk away from everything. I don't have much street cred with that.
Why were the troops moved there?
Well, I think it's safer for the troops. I think that's the short answer. We could leave them in the middle of a shooting war between the YPG and Turkey. We could hope that the ceasefire would hold and people would stop shooting. But the reality is in terms of the counterterrorism mission in the region, I actually think that the U.S. forces can do them just fine for Western Iraq. I think the reason why some people wanted troops to stay in Syria is I think they had this belief that somehow the U.S. was going to affect the outcome of the civil war in Syria, and which sections got more power or less power. And we never had enough troops to do that. And we never had enough influence to do that. And in reality, it never made sense for American foreign policy to do that. So I might occasionally agree with Gabbard or Senator Rand Paul, or a Republican, on some things. Like, I never thought the Libyan invasion was U.S. engaging in Libya was a good idea to begin with, right? But I think sometimes those things are happenstance. What we always do is we don't say invade, don't invade, walk away, double down. What we say is what is the vital national interest of the United States? What are the capabilities you have available? What's the most efficacious way to do them? And that's what we say you should do. And whether a politician says they agree or disagree, we just call balls and strikes on that. We don't pick sides. But I think it's very, very difficult to hear that kind of analysis and discussion among political candidates. It's all just people screaming at each other.
There was an interesting piece by Council on Foreign Relations, a fellow, over the weekend on Wall Street Journal. The narrative on this is that, who's happy? Who's happy about Trump's decision? Iran is happy. Assad is happy. Turkey's happy. All of our enemies are happy. Perhaps it's a bit more complicated than that. just 2 points. The argument that's offered by this Council on Foreign Relations policy guy is number one, Assad has dreams of unifying Syria that have always run into Iranian resistance. This may less limit his ambitions to consolidate power in the territory. Number two, without the U.S. In presence, Iran's attempts at persuasion will do little to restrain Syria as well. He suggests that in Syria, Ankara is bound to be more powerful, Mr. Assad more reckless, the Kurds substantially weakened, the Islamic State reconstituted. None of that is good news for Iran either.
Well, people never ask the question is how could a couple of hundred Americans jump into the middle of a Syrian civil war and organize a war against the caliphate? And the answer to that's really simple. It's because everybody let them. The Iranians, the Russians, Assad, the Turks, YPG, nobody wanted the caliphate there, and they were happy to let the Americans do that. I think people confuse that somehow that small American presence that can organize operations against the caliphate was sufficient to restrain other people's ambitions in Syria. And it wasn't. It never was. It was a speed bump. Iran and Russia have always had Assad in their orbit. That doesn't change. I don't think their position's substantially improved. There's kind of no place for them to go. The Russians, they're not going to push for more than Damascus and the port. That's all they really care about. And if they wanted to, where could they go? They go south, they bump into Turkey, they bump into Israel, they bump into Iran. Similarly, Iran goes, it bumps into Israel. Matter of fact, we had a case not long ago where the Russians were standing back while the Israelis were killing or bombing Iranian assets in Syria. So the Iran doesn't have a place to go, and they're also overstretched. So I mean, I saw that article and I read it, and I said, well, what does this have to do with the reality of what's actually going on the ground and the history of what we've seen over the last 10 years? I mean, it just seems to me it starts with a premise that whatever Trump did is wrong and it has to fail, and so let me come up with some explanations. But it's not based on anything that we've actually seen in Syria happen in the last decade.
But the other takeaway, my other takeaway from that, I get your point, was this idea that, the U.S. withdrawal just makes everybody happy and further empowers enemies of the United States. It's a lot more complicated than that because there are tensions with respect to the power relationships between these other actors.
Right. So what happens is by pulling the U.S. out of the picture, which arguably it never was, this notion that somehow the U.S. was tipping the balance of power in the Civil War, I just think that's simply not true. Mm-hmm. But the reality is the U.S. helped get rid of the caliphate, and what everybody did was they just went back to squabbling over their little piece of Syria, which is what was happening before the U.S. went in. And I don't think the U.S. was capable of affecting that dynamic. And I don't think if one side had the capacity or capability to win the Syrian civil war and take advantage of the violence and the chaos, they'd have done that 10 years ago. But they don't. And so I think we go back to where we were before, which is everybody just kind of squabbling over Syria.
He is Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great conversation. Thank you, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real, natural-looking hair back permanently. They're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts MORE to 85850. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text MORE to 85850. That's MORE to 85850.
Take a moment and picture your daughter. Society puts this unbelievable pressure on her to achieve, to win, to project perfection. It affects her. I've told you about Northridge Prep for boys. Now I'd like to tell you about their sister school. That's Willows Academy. Girls thrive at Willows because the pressure just isn't there. There's no boys to create a social pecking order. It's a culture where what matters is how good a friend you are, not Instagram. Their all-female faculty create a warm environment where girls can be their best, not perfect. And not surprisingly, in this environment, girls actually do achieve. The Willows goal is to produce leaders, and it succeeds. Willows girls attend the top universities like MIT, Notre Dame. Willows has a strong liberal arts curriculum, small class sizes, personalized attention, and one-on-one mentoring. They're an independent Catholic school for grades 6 through 12 with your strong values. Learn more at their open house. That's November 3rd. Register online at willowsacademy.org. Again, their open house November 3rd. Register at willowsacademy.org.
If you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I've had a corrective lens restriction on my driver's license for years and years, meaning that I have to drive with glasses. So my birthday came up and my license was going to expire on my birthday. So I went to the DMV, to get that renewed, and I passed the eye exam without glasses. And the lady, she's just looking at me going, how does that even work? She goes, you aced the whole thing. And I said, well, I started taking these supplements, and I started explaining it to her. And I tell everybody about it. It's been a huge blessing for me, for sure. I'll be on this stuff for the rest of my life. It's amazing.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Balance of Nature is now offering a 35% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This offer may end at any time, so don't wait to start Dr. Howard's Health Challenge. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
AM 560. The Answer.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Yeah, takes us across the pond, this installment, to England. Valerie Neal, formerly Sanders, admitted to nagging her husband, but denied committing a criminal offense.
She wanted him to pick up his clothes, maybe put the dishes in the dishwasher.
She said her husband was obsessed with the gym. Why? Because she's not there.
So what, he works out, yeah.
She admitted asking her bodybuilder ex, Michael, to vacuum more.
See? Yes.
But she
put his dishes in the dishwasher?
She crossed over to a polite request. She crossed over from a polite request to over-controlling behavior, which is a criminal offense, at least in North Yorkshire over there in England. And bully for them, I say. And why don't we have these enlightened laws in this country?
Oh, because she nagged him, now she's going to jail?
She would leave him. She would also leave him notes about cleaning.
Yeah, pick up after yourself. I'm not your mom.
She now
and
says,
if you don't, I'm not going to let you out of the house to go to the gym. Good for her. Got to set down the rules, Dan.
Well,
lay down the hammer.
Yeah. Well, she says she now wishes she had her day in court to prove she did nothing more than ask him to help out around the house. They didn't make it, by the way, the marriage.
Oh, the marriage?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. All I ever asked my husband to do was vacuum the house, make me a cup of tea, wipe marks off the patio doors. If that's nagging, I'll hold up my hands to it, but asking your husband to vacuum is not, in my eyes, a criminal offense. Well, that's where we part company.
A criminal offense? What? That better not come to America. That'll never happen here. Never.
Yeah.
Is she good looking?
They wed in 2014, although tensions soon developed over cleaning. Boy, if you had a nickel for every time you heard that story. Yeah. Boy, the honeymoon didn't last there.
It's just another mouth to feed and somebody else to clean up after, really, when you think about it.
What?
Who needs that? A husband.
This is an argument why Amy, well. Yeah.
I'm just saying women know that we have to clean up after our kids and clean up after your husbands.
Coercive and controlling behavior in the UK, by the way, you may want to contact your legislator about this, carries a maximum sentence of 5 years. Yeah. Now, here's the interesting thing. The majority of prosecutions, 97% in England and Wales in 2016, are against men.
Oh.
And that's why Dan Proft is single, because even if we had these laws, not enough women would be prosecuted.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Dominic Green, speaking about across the pond. He joins us live from outside the Parliament.
Wow.
Where they're battling over if and when they're going to Brexit at 7:37.
Yes, it's a Brexit chaos. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
58 degrees, 7:30. U.S. forces are being pulled this morning out of northern Syria, but they're not leaving. They're heading to Iraq.
The current game plan is for those forces to reposition into western Iraq, and then to two missions. One is to help defend Iraq, and two is to perform a counter-ISIS mission as we sort through the next steps.
Defense Secretary Mark Esper says most of the 1,000 troops pulling out are going to be in western Iraq to continue fighting ISIS, defending Iraq, and protecting oil fields. Weather officials confirm a dangerous tornado did touch down near Dallas Sunday night.
The whole wall of the garage and the garage door were taken off, the whole frame, and deposited in the alley behind the garage. And 4 windows and 3 trees we lost.
That's Catherine Pascal, says the damage was pretty significant in their neighborhood. Their neighborhood, because their neighborhood includes President George W. Bush and wife Laura, who live in the area where the tornado hit. Representative says they're safe, and they're working with neighbors. Texas Congressman Will Hurd says so far no Ukrainian officials believe there was anything like a quid pro quo relating to aid from the U.S.
We haven't heard from any Ukrainian official that felt like there was this arrangement.
Hurd sits on the House Intelligence Committee, telling CBS's Face the Nation no one has told the panel that he has talked to that there was any pressure. First federal trial over the opioid crisis set to begin today in Cleveland. Canadian voters heading to the polls today in what could be a close election for current Liberal Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Classes canceled again at the Chicago Public Schools as teachers continue to walk picket lines. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill facing a hearing that would set his fate. Former Indiana Supreme Court Justice beginning proceedings today on the professional misconduct claims against Hill. Hill strongly denies all claims against him. Saints over the Bears, 36-25. Blackhawks fell to the Capitals 5-3 at the UC. World Series gets underway tomorrow. Nationals and Astros meet in Game 1 in Houston. The news, a service of Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets for Freedom Summit 2019 sold out in record time in response to the high demand. We've opened up an overflow room for attendees to watch the event on Saturday, November 2nd at the Westin Chicago Northwest Overflow. Tickets are on sale now, but are selling fast. Get yours at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Clear Financial Strategies, Tom Mirabali, independent health insurance agent with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Monarch Technical, and by Charles Equipment Energy Systems.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of You Store It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of U-Store, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Property managers, manufacturing, commercial, privately and locally owned companies looking for accountability from their alarm service provider. This message is for you.
Out-of-town national companies are struggling to provide service and support for your security and fire alarm system. You can do better with SMG Security. SMG Security is a local security service and fire alarm system provider with a mission to be the security industry leader in performance and customer satisfaction for the Chicagoland area. Concentration on local protection with a local UL central monitoring system delivers the ultimate protection for you, your employees, and property from theft, fire, and workplace violence. In many cases, SMG can detect issues before they become a major problem and are continually establishing new and improved industry standards and technology to keep your business safe and secure. Get a security solution based on your business budget and needs from SMG Security. And if you switch protection to SMG before the end of the month, you'll get 3 months of free service. Go to smgsecurity.com. smgsecurity.com.
7:36 AM 560 traffic center time. In for Jim, Eddie Manzano.
Inbound Edens, Lake Hook to the junction, 22 on the outbound 50 at Gulf, an accident blocking the right shoulder, not moving from the junction. Inbound Kennedy O'Hare to downtown at 48 from the junction, 24 express lanes at 23. Outbound to O'Hare from downtown 58, sluggish from North Avenue to the junction. Heavy from Lawrence to the extension on the inbound Ike, stop and go from Manheim to Harlem. Thorndale to the post office, 45 in the outbound 50. Stop and go from Central to 25th Avenue. Inbound Stevenson, pockets of delays from 53 to County Line, heavy from Harlem to Kinsey. 55 to Lakeshore Drive an hour. Outbound 40 delays from Western to Cicero. Another delay from LaGrange to the Tri-State. Inbound Dan Ryan, 95th to downtown 26, heavy from the Stevenson. Outbound 295th from downtown at 15 minutes. That's traffic. I'm Eddie Manzano on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Windy, periods of rain, high 64. Cloudy, breezy, low 45 overnight. It's 58 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
Tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Did you see this bizarre story about Mitt Romney?
Oh, that he's got a Twitter handle. His real name is Pierre Delecto? That sounds like a male stripper name, doesn't it? And now, welcome to the stage, ladies, Pierre Delecto. Isn't he delicious? Yeah.
Yeah, in flagrante delecto, which this is so interesting to me. He has this he had this fake account apparently that he used to sort of follow politicos he wanted to follow and also make critical remarks of Trump and the like.
But he didn't want to. He wasn't man enough to follow him on his own real account, so he had this fake account.
Are people becoming more? I mean, this predates Trump, but are people becoming more like Trump? I mean, remember Trump's alter ego press agent John Barron?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like what Cheryl Atkinson said to Howard Kurtz about the question as to whether President Trump has made the D.C. press corps lose their mind. And her response was, did he make them lose their mind, or did he just expose the fact that they had lost their mind? Those are different questions. And I sort of feel that way about Mitt Romney's Carlos Danger impersonation here.
Well, he's following 668 people, and again, he's just making sure, to monitor political news and commentary.
I'll tell you what, for an effete gentleman like Mitt Romney, Pierre certainly is the right name that he chose. And by the way, the weak link in the Senate when it comes to standing up against the leftist conspiracy theorists, this is why Romney has already drawn a hit ad from Club for Growth running this ad on Fox stations in Utah.
Slick, slippery, stealthy. Mitt Romney had us fooled.
Being in Donald Trump's magnificent hotel and having his endorsement is a delight.
Posing as a Republican, he tried to infiltrate Trump's administration as Secretary of State.
President-elect Trump is the very man who can lead us to that better future.
Now his cover's blown, exposed by news reports as a Democrat's secret asset. Sources say Romney's plotting to take down President Trump with impeachment. Tell Romney, quit colluding with Democrats on impeachment.
And tell Pierre Delecto, too, while you're at it. Just
It's
bizarre.
so bizarre. It's so goofy.
As buttoned down as Mitt Romney presents himself to be. And I mean, in terms of like a life well lived, we talked about that when we ran for president in 2012. This seems to be like straight-laced, buttoned-down guy as there has ever run for president, much less been president. But then the other part of it is, he's a cutthroat private equity guy too, and
he's got an alter ego, yeah.
And he's slippery, and he's transactional. He's not principled, and thus his foray into government-run healthcare in Massachusetts. And the thing that he aspires to is status. No question about it. He sees politics as status, not as certainly not as a street fight. Maybe not even public service. I don't know, but he feels like he is one of the philosopher kings that should be genuflected before, and his more recent behavior seems to remind us of that in case we had forgotten it in 2012. For more on this topic and so many others, we're pleased to be joined by Dominic Green, Life and Arts Editor for Spectator USA, contributor to the Wall Street Journal and the New Criterion. Dominic, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I'm in Parliament Square in London. I'm here for a little bit of Brexit, and we're waiting for the big vote today.
Yeah.
On Saturday, as you hear, Boris Johnson tried to get his deal through the Parliament, but he was ambushed by people on his own side. And they added an amendment, making it impossible for him to move the deal through. But they're going to try again this afternoon.
Ambushed by people on his own side. That has a familiar ring to it. Before we talk more about Brexit, what's your handle on the impeachment melodrama playing out and sort of slippery actors like Mitt Romney on technically inside the Trump perimeter?
Well, my first understanding is that this is the surest way to boost Donald Trump's chances of re-election in 2020. Out impeachment business, which is, I don't believe it's going to get anywhere, but it's going to be a long and embarrassing theatrical. And I think any Republicans who try and work the angles on this are also going to damage their prospects in the same way as the Democrats are.
Are the people over there following the debates that we're having and any of that?
Yes, they are. A lot of people here obviously are not aware of the difference in nuance between impeachment as a legal process and the impeachment inquiry, which we currently have, which of course is more an attempt to turn up some dirt in a long-running dig. But they are following very closely, and the division between ordinary opinion and elite opinion that you see in the U.S. is pretty much replicated here when it comes to attitudes towards Donald Trump, or indeed in attitudes towards Brexit.
And so it's fascinating. So Boris Johnson is able to get a deal in principle with the EU. Apparently some in his own party thought that wasn't going to happen. And even though it did happen, they're still willing to fall on that sword despite public support. Obviously, that's why this process was launched. Public support to get out of the EU.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a very clear-cut case of the Parliament thinking they know better than the people. They made the mistake of asking the people's opinion. They got a very clear answer, and now they're charged with executing it in legislative terms. And people said, as you were saying, that Johnson would have no chance of getting a new deal with Brussels in 100 days, but he's managed it. And then it comes to the Parliament, and people in his own party, the Conservative Party, who are not reconciled to Britain leaving the European Union, are doing anything they can to block the process. So they tripped him up. But if I'm, as a gambling man, I would reckon that they're going to squeeze it through. I was talking with one of Spectator's lobby correspondents who's been in and out of Downing Street on a daily basis over the last week. And their feeling is they have the numbers, that there'll be defectors from the Labour Party, pro-Brexit Labour Party MPs who might make up the difference, and they could well get it over the line. The difficulty is, of course, that they may get over the line attached to a ball and chain because a further amendment may be attached demanding a second referendum. which will return everybody back to square one, to endorse, in other words, the deal that they've got. And this is really a stratagem for undoing Brexit, for reversing it, for restoring control over politics to the people who think they know best.
So, I mean, it's sort of the Brexit was a popular uprising, much like we've had with Trump. And you see that, do you see the energy behind that popular uprising against the ruling class? Is that really Boris Johnson's secret weapon here to get this done?
Yes, and it is. And of course, Boris is a member of the ruling class, if ever there was one. You know, he's a classicist, and he's been to Eton, and he was born in New York City even. But he most definitely has what they call the common touch. And this morning in Parliament Square, when I was looking around, you know, there are crowds of people waving Union Jack flags or European Union flags, depending on which side they're on. Things are fairly cheerful this morning. There's no scenes like there were on Saturday after the vote then. Members of the government who left the House of Commons on foot had to be given police escorts because the crowds were so angry. But absolutely, there's a massive popular energy attached to this, and any attempt to head it off or to wait it out is mistaken. Last week, the polls had 65% of British people, whichever way they voted 3 years ago, just saying they want to get it done, get on with it, and so on. And that's a pretty conclusive public opinion in favor of finishing the process and getting out.
The mainstream media here is focusing on Johnson's 2 letters that he sent to the EU on Saturday, one requesting a Brexit extension and the other arguing against it. Is there any truth to that, and what is that all about?
Oh, it was well. He got his hand tied basically by the Parliament, saying if you don't have a deal, we can't leave on October the 31st. 10 days from now. And so him and his advisors came up with this wheeze whereby, yes, they'd send the letter that they were legally obliged to send, except they sent it as a photocopy and he didn't sign it. And then he attached this letter to it, basically saying, this is Parliament's will, this is a legal obligation, this is not what I want at all. And he reminded the EU leaders in the second letter that any delay would be bad, not just for the British economy, but also for the EU economy. And let's not forget that the Eurozone, which uses the euro currency, the Eurozone is slipping into recession. Germany is heading that way, France that way as well. They're not interested in further economic distress. And so Boris's secret weapon, as it were, in today's vote, is that the European Union, which has been quite antagonistic in the negotiating period, is actually now on his side in the sense that they also want to get this wrapped up on time on October the 31st.
And what was Boris Johnson able to do to cajole the EU to change their tune?
Well, the big sticking point previously was the status of Northern Ireland, and the parties came up with a fudge, really. Northern Ireland, is part of the United Kingdom, but of course the Republic of Ireland is an EU state. Under the New Deal, Northern Ireland would remain in the UK's customs zone, which means it would benefit from any of the free trade deals that Britain could then strike, for instance, the one that Donald Trump has spoken about. But Northern Ireland will also remain inside the EU's regulatory zone. So, of course, the unionists in Northern Ireland, the ones who want to be in the UK, they're furious about this, and they have a point because in their terms, yes, this sets the North on a path towards reunification with the Republic. And if you're to ask me, I would say that that's the long-term historical drift anyway, and it's going to happen sooner or later, and it may well turn out to be the price tag for getting the rest of the UK out of the EU.
Before we let you go, being a man of letters, the life and arts editor for Spectator USA, Dominic Green, I wanted to get your comment on the passing of really famed humanities professor at Yale, Harold Bloom, passed away last week. I mean, he was a fierce defender of the Western canons, particularly Shakespeare, which isn't even required in like 47 of the top 50 English departments in America these days to be an English major. It's sort of remarkable. We're in a situation now where you're not allowed to be graded on the quality of your writing, just the effort you put into it. I mean, and that's at the collegiate level. So we've gone about as far away from the idea of the humanities and literature as we can from what Harold Bloom thought about it. And I just sort of wanted to remark on his passing and get your reaction.
I thought Harold Bloom was a tremendous American scholar, and I mean that in the sense that he was a world-class scholar, but he was also a uniquely American kind of scholar. He was in the lineage, I would say, of Emerson and Whitman, people who were enormously passionate and inspiring about literature, and who understood that the love of good books is something which makes people better citizens in some way. And so, yes, it is a tragedy, and Harold Bloom was very vocal about what was going on in the universities. He was openly hostile, and of course everyone else was openly hostile to him about this.
Yes.
But I believe he stood up for the best and so on, not just in literature, but in the way that it helps us all become better people.
He is Dominic Green, Life and Arts Editor of Spectator USA. Dominic, thanks for joining us, and good luck with Brexit out there.
We'll need it. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Amy.
God bless. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I've had a corrective lens restriction on my driver's license for years and years, meaning that I have to drive with glasses. So my birthday came up and my license was going to expire on my birthday. So I went to the DMV, to get that renewed, and I passed the eye exam without glasses. And the lady, she's just looking at me going, how does that even work? She goes, you aced the whole thing. And I said, well, I started taking these supplements, and I started explaining it to her. And I tell everybody about it. It's been a huge blessing for me, for sure. I'll be on this stuff for the rest of my life. It's amazing.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Balance of Nature is now offering a 35% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This offer may end at any time, so don't wait to start Dr. Howard's Health Challenge. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
All right. He's done it. Justin Kosick owns a MyPillow. Has been sleeping on it for a while. So, Justin, tell me, how is it going?
I was a non-believer at first, and once I got the pillow, I am a believer now. This weekend sleep was amazing.
Really?
Always cold, always fluffy. The MyPillow is excellent.
All right, yeah, and you were, because you always roll your eyes like, oh, you have a MyPillow live read. But now you're a believer because it is the best pillow ever. Trust me, I've lived a long life on different pillows, those down pillows that you have to take to the dry cleaner to get clean. They don't conform to your neck and back the way that a MyPillow does. And right now, the CEO, inventor, and creator of the MyPillow, Mike Lindell, is giving back to the listeners because we help build MyPillow into the amazing company that it is. Here's what you do. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the new radio listeners special box, type in Amy, A-M-Y, and voila, 30% off mattress toppers, deep discounts on those Giza cotton sheets that I love, a MyPillow for only $29.99, and the body pillow that provides the perfect comfort and support for your entire body, regularly $89.99. But with promo code Amy, it's only $29.99. So get on it. Go to MyPillow.com, see for yourself the amazing products and then the amazing deals when you check out at the end by typing Amy in the promo code.
Hey everyone, Ken here. For 2 years now, you've heard Carrie and I use metaphors to test to see if you think your home or your business could use a revenue shot in the backside. Today, because of our new website, I can be a little bit more direct. Income Store has 2 doors. If you have more time than money, you're going to live under door number 1. You're going to see over 400 digital assets, 5 to 20 minutes apiece, that'll teach you how to manage numbers and lead people, or show you 6 growth tips you've never heard of. All of this so you can start growing your home or your business revenue literally immediately. If you have more money than time, door number 2 is going to be for you. You can view some of our managed services, look for more done-for-you packages. 34% of Americans in 2018 visited one of our managed services. Forbes 3 years in a row quoted, Income Store is an expert at generating home or business revenue. If you'd love to explore how to check out adding revenue to your home or business, just go to incomestore.com. That's incomestore.com.
For more than 50 years, Mueller CPA, a certified public accounting and business advisory firm, has been serving clients in Chicagoland. Dave Nissen, Mueller's managing partner, is here to explain Mueller CPA's history, journey, and opportunity.
Thanks, Dan. Our firm was started by Al Mueller as a one-person CPA firm in 1968. Through growth and partnerships, Mueller CPA has blossomed from a regional firm to an organization that provides services worldwide. Mueller is a reflection of our years of listening and caring for our clients. and we would not be here today if it wasn't for our professionals and support personnel. We value the human side of our business and recognize it as being the most important element of our success. We are growing, we are hiring, and we welcome your interest in our firm.
If you are looking for your first opportunity or your forever career, join an award-winning team that cares about you. Visit the career page at MuellerCPA.com or call Dave directly at 630-524-5274.
Studies show that a divorce can be the most stressful event in a person's life. However, you have the option to choose a method of ending your marriage in a way that minimizes that stress for you and your children. Mediation is a confidential process with a neutral and trained mediator. The confidentiality of mediation protects your children, your circumstances, and financial information from public scrutiny. Mediation also lets you control the divorce process instead of the process controlling you. You can choose to have your attorney attend a mediation session. You can choose to involve mental health professionals or financial professionals. You can choose the issues to be mediated, and you can choose from a multitude of options to settle those issues instead of a stranger choosing for you. Divorce does not have to be destructive. There is a way to minimize the impact on your family. There is a better way. Find out more at levinbrand.com. That's LEVINBREND.com or 312-726-4440. 312-726-4440.
I'm Gary Rabine of the Rabine Group and the podcast Ditch Digger CEO. One of my favorite things to do is golf at our exclusive Bull Valley Golf Club in Woodstock. Just 55 minutes northwest of O'Hare and 35 minutes south of Lake Geneva. 5 minutes from the Metro line. 250 acres of amazing terrain, oak and red pine forests, native prairie and marsh. It feels like you played 4 different courses in 18 holes. Golf Digest rated Bull Valley the 30th most challenging championship-style golf course in America. One of the best courses in Illinois, and the track the best golfers want to play. Good golfers, Bull Valley will make you great. Bad golfers like me, Bull Valley will make you better. A world-class staff and 2 amazing teaching pros, simulators, and a beautiful instructional range. I've got the greatest offer on the planet in private championship golf. If you live in or near Chicago, join our Chicago membership in the next 10 days and get 18 months for $2,500. You heard it, $2,500 to be a member until April 2021. Email Gary at bullvalleygolfclub.com and play championship golf tomorrow. That's Gary at bullvalleygolfclub.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
That really is a great deal for Bull Valley. It's a good, really good track.
$2,500 until April 2021.
Yeah.
You get a membership?
I'm a member.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to take me and my pops golfing sometime?
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe mid-December?
You better bring your A game.
We were going to discuss this story, or at least I wanted to, on Friday, because our superintendent of police fell asleep at the wheel at 12:30 a.m. Here's the dispatch call when people came by and noticed that somebody was taking a little nappy-noopy in their car.
Person slumped over the wheel, 34th place in Aberdeen and 34th place. Caller said there's a person asleep at the stop sign in a black Chevy Tahoe.
And that person that was asleep was our Superintendent Johnson, and he came out right away and had really an exhaustive press conference where members from the media kept asking, but no, really, why did you fall asleep? And he kept repeating that the unusual incident was caused by a change in his blood pressure medication.
So while off duty, I was out with a group of friends for dinner and didn't have any feelings or symptoms of impairment or side effects from my medication when I left the restaurant.
2-minute stations, 2 minutes away.
And that, sorry, I don't know what that came from. But then he never said that he was drinking, nothing.
Somebody being asleep in the car doesn't mean they're impaired in any way.
But guess what?
I like that. By the way, that statement is great. As a criminal defense attorney friend of mine pointed out, that is a statement that is now going to be used for everyone who is arrested for DUI.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Eddie Johnson defense.
Because guess who called him out? It was our own Mayor Lightfoot, who sat down with Fran Spielman from the Sun-Times, and she asked her point blank, what did he tell you happened? Was he drinking?
Did you ask him if he'd been drinking?
I didn't ask him that question specifically. He revealed to me that he'd had a couple of drinks with dinner.
Oh, he did. And is that okay? Is that okay? Should he have been driving then?
Well, look, again, I'm going to let the investigation play itself out. He's a grown man.
No. Mayor Lightfoot, you say you don't drink and drive. He makes enough money and he has access to a driver. Dan, I don't know if you knew that. So he doesn't have to drive himself home late at night after getting his drink on with his buddies. And he should be, he admitted that he was drinking and driving. Should he be arrested? because he was drinking and driving.
You need evidence to arrest somebody. He had a couple of drinks with dinner. That's not the same thing as saying that he would have blown hot.
Okay, well, he wasn't. They didn't give him a breathalyzer because
so
it's
you
their
don't know.
boss.
So you don't know.
Yeah, and he lied to them. He lied to the people of the city of Chicago, and he said, it was just a medication. They changed my medication. That's why I fell asleep at the wheel at a stop sign. He could have killed somebody. He could have killed himself. Well, it's just different rules for different people, and I'm sick of it. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to David Drucker about 2020. When's that white knight going to enter the Democrat primary at 8:08?
But here's Mike Scott first.
A deadly triple shooting in Chicago, and the Saints top the Bears. WIND. Chicago News Time. It's 8 o'clock.
They worked out a last-minute deal. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Just before the first federal trial was to start today in the opioid crisis of overdoses and deaths, new settlements. Fox's Jeff Manasso is on the case live.
Dave, 4 drug companies accused of fueling the nation's opioid crisis have settled just ahead of trial in Ohio. McKesson, Cardinal Health, Amerisource Bergen, and Teva Pharma agreed to a deal with Cuyahoga and Summit counties said to be worth tens of billions of dollars, though it's unclear if Walgreens, which was also named in the suit, will continue on to trial. 5 other drug makers, including Johnson & Johnson, also reached settlements leading up to the same trial. Dave.
Jeff, search crews are going around the Dallas, Texas area looking for any victims in the rubble of damaged homes and buildings the morning after a tornado hit.
We just got in the hallway and held each other.
She says her family prayed they'd be okay. So far, no reports of deaths or injuries. More than 100,000 homes and businesses lost power. That same storm system also caused damage in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. Turkey is warning if Kurds don't pull back from a border area in Syria by the time a ceasefire expires tomorrow, it'll resume its military operation against the fighters who were U.S. allies in the battle against ISIS. Defense Secretary Mark Esper, while in Afghanistan today, defended pulling U.S. troops back as the Turks moved in.
Nowhere in there was that we would fight a longstanding NATO ally and in defense of the Kurds to enable the establishment of an autonomous Kurdish state.
Now, Esper says some U.S. troops will remain in Syria for now, protecting oil fields from ISIS. There's a new poll out in the Democratic presidential race in Iowa showing Pete Buttigieg surging, now a close third in the state that'll hold the first 2020 contest.
Joe Biden leading the way with 19%. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren claiming 18%. And Mayor Pete in third place with 13% support. The poll was taken after last week's Democratic primary debate.
That's Fox's Jillian Mealy. America's listening to Fox News.
Skies are cloudy, 57 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Classes canceled again at the Chicago Public Schools as teachers continue to walk picket lines and continue negotiating. There were some minor agreements on issues, according to Teachers Union Chief of Staff Jennifer Johnson.
We've been at the bargaining table for 10 months, and we're only seeing these concrete victories come together after having 25,000 members on picket lines, students and parents in the streets.
Meantime, the Addison Teachers Association continues to prepare for a strike. Contract talks there in District 4 are at an impasse after Addison teachers declined the board's last best offer. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill is facing a hearing that will set his fate. Former Indiana Supreme Court Justice will start proceedings today on the professional misconduct claim against Hill. The judge finds in favor of the women who've accused Hill of grabbing backsides at an Indianapolis bar. He could lose his license to practice law. Chicago sports found the Saints over the Bears at Soldier Field, 36-25. Blackhawks fell to the Capitals 5-3 at the United Center. It's 8:03. It's time for the AM 560 Business Beat, and it's a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
U.S. markets poised for gains this morning. They're also up in Asia and Europe despite continuing Brexit drama. The incoming president of the European Central Bank is warning the U.S. against making deeper interest rate cuts because it could spur inflation. Christine Lagarde also saying the U.S. risks diminishing its role as a global leader. The strike at General Motors stretching into a second month after a tentative labor agreement last week. Union leaders deciding to continue continue picketing till workers approve the deal. Some workers at the world's largest copper mine planning to walk off the job Tuesday. And Sesame Street fans, there's a second Sesame Street Place Park opening in San Diego, planned for 2021 according to SeaWorld Entertainment and Sesame Workshop. The first Sesame Place opened almost 40 years ago outside Philadelphia. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
It's 8:04 on AM 560. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity can't make heads or tails of the left.
To be a liberal Democrat, extreme radical socialist today, you have to suspend any fidelity to truth, to honesty, to common sense and reason. Because in their world, up is down, down is up. You know, black is white, white is black, green is purple, purple is green. That's the world they live in.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Stop wasting energy. There's a better way. Your company could be receiving energy efficiency incentives by recycling waste heat from on-site power generation equipment and turning it into useful energy. The federal government is pushing utility companies to be more efficient. In turn, utility companies are offering incentives for your business. Charles Equipment can help get you up and running with cogeneration, also known as CHP, Combined Heat and Power, a clean and efficient way to generate heat and power. CHP systems can supply at least a portion of a building's electrical load and capture waste heat from hot exhaust gases for use in heating, cooling, hot water, and dehumidification. Charles Equipment can install and manage the cogen equipment at your facility and help your energy use become 70 to 90% more efficient. Start making better, more energy-efficient decisions and save money in the process. Call Charles Equipment, 630-834-6000 or online at charlesequipment.com. Reliable industrial generators. They've got the power.
When it comes to keeping your small business's valuable information safe, Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can recommend tailored security solutions like servers, storage, networking. Plus, right now, get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. Running your own small business is a big challenge, but with the right partner, it's a lot easier. To speak with an advisor today, call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time, so you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. 0% annual percentage rate. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
8:07 AM 560 traffic center time. In for Jim, here's Eddie Manzano.
Inbound Eden to Skokie, an accident reported not moving from Dundee from Lake Hook to the junction 41, outbound 55, not moving from the junction to Dempster due to an earlier accident. Inbound Kennedy heavy from the junction to Madison O'Hare to downtown 42, from the junction 28, express lanes 30. Outbound to the junction from downtown 16 to O'Hare 50, heavy from Kimball to the extension. On the inbound Ike, pockets of delays from St. Charles into the Circle. Thorndale to the post office 45, outbound 50, heavy from Saratoga 5th Avenue. Inbound Stevenson 55 to Lakeshore Drive an hour, heavy from Harlem to Kedzie, slow from Ashland to the Dan Ryan. Outbound 255 from Lakeshore Drive at 40, sluggish from Damon to Cicero. Inbound Dan Ryan 95 to downtown 30 minutes, stop and go from the Stevenson. Outbound at 15, no delays. I'm Eddie Manzano, and that's traffic on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Windy, periods of rain today, the high 64. Clouds and breezy tonight and a low 45. Cloudy, breezy, and cool tomorrow. Shower in spots, high 51. And then partly sunny, breezy on Wednesday, the high near 58. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
57 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A lot of activity on Saturday. You had,
Bernie's back.
Yeah, that was secondary. Obviously, the big news on Saturday was the National Period Day rallies.
Oh, yeah.
59 rallies, including D.C., rallying for against menstrual inequity and for, I guess, menstrual justice.
And some of the signs that they brought out, it was not just women, but men too, holding signs that said "period proud." Another one, armed schools with tampons, not guns. Another one, I already have 7 periods to worry about at school. I don't need another one.
Can you arm schools with tampons and guns? Are they mutually exclusive? Well, I'll tell you, I menstruated on Saturday in solidarity.
I knew you would.
And then I was all worn out. I could barely pay attention to the hours-long rally that Bolshevik Bernie had put together by his friends, AOC and Michael Moore, the Not Dead Yet rally for Bernie there in Queens. And
25,000 people were there. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, it's very impressive. And Michael Moore kicked off the festivities.
I remember asking Bernie back then, what exactly is a democratic socialist? And he said, well, it's very simple. It's what the Democratic Party used to be.
It's an infectious laugh he has.
It's what Franklin Roosevelt did.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It's what Franklin Delano Roosevelt did. Yes, big social engineering government programs. There's no question about it. I like that they're getting back to their roots and speaking truth to the powers that be.
The powers that be are very unhappy that you're here. They're very unhappy that Bernie is back.
He sounds so weird, like slimy.
Bernie's back, and by the way, if you think he's too old, he's not too old. You know it's too old?
What?
All kinds of other stuff.
So what do they say? Bernie's too old. Bernie's too old. Yeah? Well, here's what's too old. The Electoral College is too old. That's too old.
The Constitution, that's too old. Constitution's too old.
$25 minimum wage, that's too old. Women not being paid the same as men, that's too old. Thousands and thousands of dollars of student debt, what is that? Too old. A $10,000 deductible for your health care, what is that?
Too long.
Super delegates, what's that?
Too old.
Fossil fuel, what's that? That's what's too old.
Yeah, fossil fuels are too old. They're fossils. They're old.
It's all.
AOC,
was AOC any better?
Oh, she was fantastic. AOC.
You know me.
Not only at the rally, but she cut a promotional video as well where she's really defined the working class revolution that has to take place.
We need to have a revolution of working class people, and it needs to be multiracial, multigendered, multigenerational. Our future is not going to get better unless we demand it and unless we work for it.
You know it's too old? The male-female binary gender construct.
Too old.
Thank you, please. Thank you. And AOC offered a little retrospective on all that Bernie has meant to her life, the struggles that Bernie helped her overcome on the road from being a waitress at a taqueria to Congress.
Last February, I was working as a waitress in
a cocktail bar,
Manhattan,
and I met you.
at a
Pick me
taqueria.
up, turn me on.
I worked
Don't you want
shoulder
me,
to
Bernie?
shoulder with undocumented workers
Don't you feel the
who often worked harder and hardest for the least amount of money. I was on my feet working 12-hour days.
So what? So did I.
With no structured breaks. I didn't have health care. I wasn't being paid a living wage. And I didn't think that I deserved any of those things. Because that is the script
was a man.
that we tell working people
You think it was a
here
man.
and all over this country. That your inherent worth and value as a human being is dependent on an income that another person decided to underpay us. But what we're here to do is to turn around that very basic logic.
All right, the proletariat revolution started in Queens. Can it carry Bolshevik Bernie the nomination? For more on this topic, Politics 2020, we're pleased to be joined again by David Drucker, senior political correspondent for the Washington Examiner. David, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So, big turnout for Bernie. I mean, he's got a loyal following, but it seems increasingly like it's a high floor and a low ceiling, and it's not going to be enough to keep him, in the race past, say, South Carolina.
Right. Well, we don't know exactly when Bernie will drop out because he's got a very loyal base of small donors. And if they keep giving, maybe he stays in the race because the way he sees it, even if he can't win the primary, this is how he influences policy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you're correct that he has a really high hill to climb to try and win the primary. I think for progressives that want a real ambitious sort of leftism, they're getting that from Elizabeth Warren, who's also younger and more energetic and more dynamic, frankly. There are plenty of choices in this primary. So Bernie Sanders has a loyal following. I've never felt that he is a front runner, but I've never felt that he was in a front running position to win the primary. However, if he were to win Iowa or finish a very close second, something like that, he could roll into New Hampshire, which is, fertile territory for him in many respects, and he could surprise.
You just said Elizabeth Warren, who's younger than him. She's 70 years old.
That's younger.
Yeah, that makes a big difference in presidential politics, though. When you're 78 or 70, I mean, that's a huge difference. She also kind of presents as a young 70. I mean, for what it's worth.
She does.
And she's very dynamic on the trail, which I think is surprising a lot of people, because she started out the campaign and it seemed like she was sort of a one-note candidate. And, policy aside, if you've watched her on the stump, I can see a lot of the reasons why many Democrats find her appealing.
Yeah, and it's been interesting as she has risen to sort of perceived frontrunner status. There's been a good deal of concern expressed openly by opinion writers and politicos on the left about her prospects to win if she's the nominee. And so now you're seeing people after the last debate, take another look at Mayor Pete. You're having more chatter about, a white knight from stage left appearing. Is Michael Bloomberg going to get in? Is Hillary Clinton going to get in? Is somebody else going to get in? What's your handle on whether or not the field has rounded out, number one? And number two, I mean, could the Democrats actually nominate Mayor Pete if there's enough concern about Elizabeth Warren?
Well, look, I think Pete Buttigieg is a very charismatic candidate. He's this sort of young, charismatic politician that Democrats tend to nominate from time to time. And when Democrats win presidential elections, it's often with candidates like him. I mean, think Bill Clinton, think Barack Obama, think, JFK, and so it's sort of a regular occurrence for Democrats. His issue, I've always felt, has just been his age. He is under 40, and I think that's his biggest challenge.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but his age also, he's the mayor of a 100,000 person town.
Right. I don't think that's his biggest challenge, because I think a lot of Americans have concluded that political pedigree doesn't matter as much. I mean, you can look at President Trump. That's an example of that. He was the first person we had elected in modern times, maybe ever, who wasn't at least a general, if not, a cabinet member or elected some previous office of some kind.
Yeah, but success.
So I think for Pete, it's age, but he's running a good campaign and raising a lot of money. I don't see somebody coming out of the blue and getting in like a Bloomberg or anybody else. The organizing starts so early that you can't just parachute in anymore the way you used to. I also don't know how a Bloomberg type would parachute in and somehow steal the heart of the Democratic base.
Right.
Especially when you have Warren running such a good campaign, and she's so organized and she's doing well with that sector of the party. I do think it's possible we will see movement. I think that, let's see how things look at the beginning of January. And it's possible that the front runners will have new company, or that one of the front runners could be replaced by a late-breaking challenger into that field from the existing candidate field. You can't rule that out.
But what about people that are not, declared right now, such as Hillary Clinton? Then you keep hearing rumors about Michelle Obama.
I'll go back to what I just said. Nobody is going to jump in late and somehow, I don't like to use the word steal because everybody thinks rigged these days, but nobody's going to come in and usurp all of the candidates that are running. I mean, maybe one individual in the Democratic Party could do that. His name's Barack Obama, and he's termed out.
Mm-hmm. With respect to Joe Biden, are you of the opinion, as some are, Dan Henninger wrote in the Wall Street Journal last week, Joe's just not going to make it again. He's sputtering, and also too, and this is sort of an underappreciated aspect of this. You were just talking about how much money Mayor Pete is raising and has on hand. Joe Biden, on the other hand, has only a third of the money on hand that Mayor Pete does, and he's spending it seemingly at a faster rate.
Yeah, so Joe Biden has challenges, and I think that, one, he's been, until the debate that just occurred, he was the only one everybody was attacking. Then you have, some of his challenges with raising small donor money, which means he's had to raise money the old-fashioned way, which just takes more time and costs more money to raise per dollar. And then there are existing doubts about Joe Biden. So I am reluctant to predict that Joe Biden will fade because he's been remarkably durable. And there is a market in the Democratic primary for somebody who is center-left versus leftist. Mm-hmm. But, could Joe Biden, could that role be filled by Pete as opposed to Joe? And that's possible. But I'm reluctant to prematurely predict Joe Biden's demise. It doesn't mean I don't think he won't lose for some reason or another. I mean, he very well could lose. I don't know that it would be shocking. But in some ways, he's been, especially given his history as never having even been a front runner before when he ran for president, he's been remarkably durable.
What's your handle on Hill Republicans other than Pierre Delecto, a.k.a. Mitt Romney, and their sort of ongoing support for President Trump against the latest impeachment onslaught?
So I know that in the House, they're going to stick with him except for a few. I mean, most of the Republicans that would have had a problem with the information that's been uncovered so far were beaten in 2018. They were from the toughest districts. But there is a lot of frustration with how the White House is handling this and the lack thereof. They would like to see more discipline, and they would like to, not give the Democrats so much fuel. In the Senate, there's no desire to get on Trump's bad side. There's no desire to have a split in the party. And so with a lot of this information, most of them are going to grit their teeth and bear it. But there are some of them that are not pleased, and you will see them speak out from time to time. They're a little bit more open to seeing, the breadth of all of the evidence such that it is or is not by the time the House votes to impeach, which I think it will. And I would say that the Syria policy implemented by the president over the past, 10 days now, has Republicans in the Senate in particular, but in the House as well, very, very unhappy. Yeah. They were all willing to voice that unhappiness in the midst of all of this. You don't see that often. And if the president doesn't appreciate exactly how unhappy they are, he's really missing something. They are furious. They're dismayed. They're just beside themselves.
And the impeachment, you think, is likely to happen before year's end?
Oh, they're going to. Yeah, I mean, I get myself in the hot water when I make these predictions, which I try not to do. But I don't see how the House doesn't vote to impeach. I don't see how Democrats don't have the votes to impeach based on everything we know and based on what they've said about what we know. And he will not be removed in the Senate, but there will be a trial. Mm-hmm. And the Chief Justice, who's John Roberts, will preside. He will have basically sole discretion over motions. And so it's going to be a rule under the rules of the Senate, the trial under the rules of the Senate that will occur. I don't think you'll get, more than a handful or less of Republicans to vote to remove if you get that. But these things can cut both ways, right? It's very politically uncertain to be impeached and go through this. I can lay out a scenario where it doesn't hurt the president and maybe hurts Democrats. I can also lay out a scenario where it's to the exact opposite. He doesn't get removed, obviously, but it's very damaging. And then I can lay out a scenario where we end up right back where we started after the Russia investigation, which is everybody believes what they already believed.
Right.
And independents were like, we're not that thrilled, but find me somebody else I can vote for.
But impeachment hurts the country. I mean, the markets will be in disarray, and I
Built
don't
in.
think it's worth it.
Right, and some people agree with you, but some people do. Some people look at the president and they believe that he's causing the same, the same kind of long-term damage that you fear impeachment will, and there are just different opinions out there.
Well, and with respect to impeachment, though, this is interesting. So last week's debate, you had several of the candidates, even the most outspoken anti-Trump candidates, and that's stiff competition on that side, making notes of caution with respect to being all consumed by impeachment. And then you see just over the weekend, I think, Vox.com sends an email out about their new podcast offering, Impeachment Explained. You're not rolling out sort of a new podcast brand if you don't intend on that going for some period of time, significant period of time. And I just wonder if there's some disconnect or uncertainty between left media and some of these left candidates about how all consumed they should be with impeachment, politically speaking.
I don't think there's a disconnect. I think everybody understands that impeachment is a major story, and there's almost no way it isn't the major story until it's over with. And I think Democrats, at least Democrats who are smart, and I think, some of the presidential candidates understand this. Pelosi clearly understands this. Understands there's a risk of, the voters are interested in all sorts of policies and issues that are kitchen table issues, which they always are. And so when you decide to step into the breach here and engage in an impeachment inquiry, you're taking a risk that voters will understand that it's important and that you're still, committed to the issues that they care about. I will say, for Democratic voters, one of the reasons that House Democrats went ahead with this is they have felt pressure from their own voters to do this. So there clearly is an appetite for it from some voters.
Yeah.
I think, over time, Democrats, the biggest challenge they have now is making the case so that the country doesn't think this was a big waste of time, or at least, not a big majority of the country.
Right, and also their own voters in swing states. I just saw Iowa, a survey, I think it was Morning Consult last week, but anyway, it was a survey, suggested, impeachment among self-identified Democrats in Iowa, a swing state, doesn't even rank in the top 4 or 5 issues. So, they need to be careful overreaching even within their voters in swing states.
Yeah. That's the whole ballgame, are swing voters and independents, the persuadables. They actually still matter. They still exist, no matter the focus on base politics on both sides of the aisle. And, whichever way they swing in the election in the critical states, that's probably how the election goes. And they're the whole ballgame.
He is David Drucker, senior political correspondent for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for joining us.
Anytime, guys. Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg. If you'd like to pay off debt, call Team Hochberg now about a cash-out refinance. During May, Team Hochberg helped listeners access $953,000 to pay off credit cards, student loans, car loans, medical bills, collections, and IRS tax liens, which saved them close to $19,000 a month. Since January, Team Hochberg has saved listeners over $74,000 a month, which is an annualized savings of over $888,000. What are you waiting for? Call Team Hochberg now to see if we can help you pay off debt and substantially reduce your monthly payments with a cash-out refinance. Think of all the things you could do with an extra $500, $1,000, or $1,500 a month that you'd be saving. Call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Hackers are just relentless, and it's only a matter of time before they get to you and your business network. What's worse, they could even obtain your client's information, and that could be compromised if you are not careful. That's why you need to hook up with Turnkey IT. Turnkey IT has been a proud partner of AM 560 for years. They understand the needs of small to medium-sized businesses, whether it's 5 or 200 employees. So don't become another company that has had its network, or worse, its clients' information compromised. Your business is too important to take risks. So let Turnkey IT make sure you have no vulnerabilities. Find out if your network is protected with a free security audit that's normally $600. Again, it's free. And you can let the pros at Turnkey IT thoroughly analyze your systems to ensure your business is not vulnerable to attacks, intrusions, and hackers. Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on what's important. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get big savings on a furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
No matter how long it's been, when you're back together, you still get that good old-fashioned feeling. Even though you've been apart, it's as though you've never left. That's right. Football season is back.
Reignite your spark right here on the Husky Sports Network. Your NIU Huskies battle the Akron Zips this Saturday afternoon at 2:30. Don't miss a minute of the action right here on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The
Answer. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We've got a wrap-off. That's right, a wrap-off. RAP, not WRAP. A wrap-off between Ludwig von Mises and Karl Marx. Seems like an appropriate time to have it after the Bolshevik Bernie rally in Queens over the weekend. Stay tuned for that at 8:38.
And later, Dan, you might want to date her. A woman was found living in her van with 300 rats. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
57 degrees at 8:31. Communities in North Texas in cleanup mode today after fierce storms, including a confirmed tornado, spread heavy damage across the region. A 17-mile wide swath of destruction, sending at least 6 to area hospitals. U.S. forces are leaving northern Syria, but they're not coming home just yet. Instead, Defense Secretary Mark Esper says this morning most of the 1,000 troops pulling out will be repositioned in western Iraq. In a last-minute move, 4 drug makers have reached a settlement designed to avoid a trial over the opioid crisis. That trial was set to begin today in Ohio. It's worth about $8 billion. There's a massive search ongoing right now for a small plane that disappeared from radar. It was coming into North Carolina's Raleigh-Durham Airport. Search and rescue teams from a dozen local and state agencies are trying to find that plane. Classes canceled again at the Chicago Public Schools today as teachers continue to strike and walk picket lines. Negotiations have made some progress. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill facing a hearing that will set his fate. Former Indiana Supreme Court Justice will begin proceedings on the professional misconduct claims against Hill. If the judge finds in favor of the women who've accused Hill of grabbing their backsides at an Indianapolis bar, he could lose his license to practice law. Saints over the Bears, 36-25. Blackhawks fell to the Capitals 5-3. And likely you've heard about that little upset down in Champaign. The Illini beating number 6 Wisconsin, 24-23 at Memorial Stadium. Well, here's what you don't know. Photos and videos show the kicker, James McCourt from Ireland, being hoisted on teammates' shoulders after making that 39-yard field goal, and show him a little bewildered. Turns out being a hero is a little less glamorous in the moment. McCourt was on the bottom of the pile with his teammates stacked on top, and he passed out. Really didn't even know what happened for a few minutes. The Illini visit Purdue next Saturday. The news is a service of Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher isn't exactly confident in the Democratic candidates.
President Trump tweeted, "You would think there is no way
that any of the Democrat candidates that we witnessed last night could possibly become president of the United States. He's right. Did you watch the debate last night? Good Lord. What a clown show. What an absolute crap storm.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Is your child falling behind academically? Is he overwhelmed, distracted, or unable to focus? Does your daughter lack confidence? It's not too late to consider the outstanding education and preparation for life that St. John's Northwestern Military Academy offers. For 135 years, St. John's Northwestern has prepared teens for college and beyond within a safe, secure, and structured environment, free from distractions and optimal for learning. St. John's Northwestern attracts teens grades 7 through 12 who are capable of achieving more, but need guidance and encouragement to get there. They inspire personal growth through a commitment to academic, spiritual, and character development, athletics, and a strong foundation essential for critical thinking and decision-making. St. John's Northwestern is in the beautiful Lake Country region of southeast Wisconsin, within driving distance of Chicago. Visit their beautiful 110-acre campus during their open house Friday, November 8th. Get more info at 1-800-SJ-CADET, 1-800-SJ-CADET, or online at sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org. St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. Leadership lives here.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Rick Blavelone, second-generation owner and CEO of Marketing Innovators and a customer of Signature Bank. Our family-run company was founded on the belief that connecting to people on a human level is the best way to build a great business. And when we were looking for a new bank, we didn't have to look far. We shared an office building with Signature Bank in Rosemont and quickly saw that they were truly locally owned and operated. That's why we partnered with Signature. And that relationship makes every business decision better and every communication clearer. Marketing Innovators looks forward to a long-lasting relationship with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
It is 8:36. AM 560 traffic center time. In for Jim, here's Eddie Manzano.
On the inbound, Eden's heavy from Tower to Skokie due to an earlier accident from Lake Hook to the Junction 25 up on 33. Inbound Kennedy O'Hare to downtown 45 from Junction 34. Express lanes at 32. Outbound to O'Hare from downtown 44. Inbound I-Heavy from North Avenue into the Circle. Thorndale to the Post Office 52. Outbound 45. Your problem is from Central to Manheim. Inbound Stevenson heavy from Harlem to the Dan Ryan. 55 to Lakeshore Drive 50. Outbound 40. Pockets of delays from Western to County Line. Inbound Dan Ryan heavy from 43rd to the Circle, 95th to downtown, 32 outbound 15. Express lanes okay on the outbound, slow on the inbound from 35th to the Stevenson. Lakeshore southbound heavy from Irving to North Avenue. Hollywood to North 31. On the northbound side are delays at 15 minutes. That's traffic. I'm Eddie Manzano on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, windy, periods of rain, high 64, cloudy, breezy, low 45. Currently, 57. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Last week, Friday, we had Oak Park trustee Dan Maroney on.
Oh, that's right.
To talk about his colleague, the tolerant Dr. Susan Buchanan, who basically said white men need to shut up, right, in Oak Park. That became a national story.
You're white, you've light skin, you don't know what oppression means.
They got a board meeting tonight, if I recall what Dan said, but that should be lively, especially because we had a couple other Oak Park trustees chime in when they got word that Dan Maroney had done the unthinkable and come on our show to discuss this issue.
Really? They complained?
A trustee, Oak Park trustee named Artie Walker Petacotla, who self-described Oak Park's AOC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
As a fellow trustee, this is vile, meaning coming on our show. This is a vile, reprehensible act by Trustee Maroney. He knows that his Brett Kavanaugh-like outrage has resulted in our board receiving death threats, yet he goes on the radio to keep this story alive. Someone's ego has been bruised.
He was reasonable and measured in his response, and he was just talking about the situation. He didn't make any
There's no place for that in Oak
inflammatory
Park.
comments about coworkers.
Rob Braymeyer, I guess, I don't know. He's some dink in Oak Park. This is extremely irresponsible and divisive by Trustee Maroney. The violence and hatred he continues to enable is reprehensible and not in keeping with Oak Park values. But
what are Oak Park values?
Let's have a
Can we
discussion of
determine
Oak
that?
Park values. I mean, we know nuclear free zone. Got that. We know white men need not apply. Got that.
White men's opinion is not important.
White
Men should really just go away.
We know men should wear only open-toed footwear. We know that's an Oak Park value. A lot of kale as sort of a staple.
Flaxseed's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that. What else? Oak Park values. Help me, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I want to make sure we have an exhaustive list. I don't want to be promoting hate and so on and so forth as Oak Park's AOC and, I don't know, her sidekick here suggest. Speaking of AOC, the real one was in Queens. We talked a little bit about her with David Drucker, but I think you need to hear more from her. Listen to this this riff from AOC.
I'm in the United States Congress now. And that's a long, long way from being a sexually harassed waitress in downtown Manhattan 1 year ago.
Well, she's a victim.
Oh, she doggone it. She's gonna have her Me Too movement, right? Or moment.
She's a victim, and
Oh, please.
And
I was a waitress for 4 years. Get over it.
Bernie rescued her from that fate of being treated boorishly by her employers, by patrons of the taqueria, where she was a waitress. I want to play again what she said about what the Bolshevik Bernie, AOC, Socialist Spice Girls revolution means. This is important.
Last February, I was working as a waitress in downtown Manhattan at a taqueria. I worked shoulder to shoulder with undocumented workers who often worked harder and hardest for the least amount of money.
True.
I was on my feet working 12-hour days with no structured breaks. I didn't have health care.
Structure breaks.
I wasn't being paid a living wage. And I didn't think that I deserved any of those things. Because that...
I hear you, sister.
Yeah.
Because that is the script that we tell working people here and all over this country. That your inherent worth and value as a human being is dependent on an income that another person decided to underpay us. But what we're here to do is to turn around that very basic logic.
Yeah, learn to turn around that basic logic. So it's just really interesting to listen to her with the victim rap, the proletariat, workers of the world unite shtick. But think about the implications of what she's saying. You know, the living wage stuff, sexually harassed, the undocumented workers who work harder than Americans, of course, so on and so forth. All of the sophistry. All of the sophistry. They will tell you what you will pay. What they want to do is take the public sector union model to the private sector. The employees are in charge, not the employer. Structured breaks. I worked without structure breaks. What do we want? Structure breaks. When do we want it?
No.
In a timely fashion.
But anybody who's worked in the food industry or the restaurant industry knows, there's going to be times when you're slammed, and you're not going to have. That's why they don't have structured breaks, Dan, because they can't structure them.
Forget the industry. The industry doesn't matter.
She said she's making minimum wage. She got tips, okay, and she probably didn't claim them on her tags.
This is applicable across the board. This is a ideological revolution, and even though she, at best has a room temperature IQ, and she is so thinly read, it's embarrassing. With her sing-songy ignorance, she doesn't resemble at all the unfortunate evil talents of the Marxes and the Lenins of the world from a bygone era. So she's just trying to pantomime some of the lines, but that's what she's talking about. Now, Comrade Bernie, on the other hand, is the real deal. The real deal. And even if he doesn't make it to the nomination, and even if the Socialist Spice Girls are sort of relegated to a novelty act in the House, make no mistake about this. There is a problem here that needs to be confronted straight away, a discussion that needs to be forced, meaning confronted, not by the state, that's their business, meaning you need to prompt this discussion about what kind of economic system we should have in a free society, if the society is going to be free. Richard in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hey, Dan and Amy. Just wanted to make a comment about AOC's remark about not making a living wage and working hard and everything. Well, she works in the restaurant industry, and generally, when you work hard in the restaurant industry, you make money on tips. Now, generally, I tip 20% or more. I don't make it exact, but I mean, generally, I'm tipping over 20%, if they're, doing their job.
Yes, right. Thanks for the call, Richard. Right.
Have you ever been in the service? Well, you were a caddy.
Yeah.
And you survived on tips, right?
Well, I
Why
mean,
am I
a
not
caddy
survived?
growing up. Yeah. I mean, this
you had
whole,
your mom and dad there to help
It's
you.
this whole idea. Nobody, minimum wage is not meant to be a quote-unquote livable wage. You're not supposed to support a family of four on a minimum wage.
No, you start out at minimum
nobody
wage.
Nobody actually makes minimum wage for more than 6 months, especially in a tight labor market. It's a joke. This is all flimflammery, but it's flimflammery with a point. And the operative word that is used by AOC and her ilk is deserve. It's not human right. It's deserve. I deserve this, and I deserve that, and we deserve this, and we deserve that, and we're going to make a claim on you at the point of a gun to provide what we say we deserve. Blank checks. Look at what the Chicago Teachers Union is doing and has done historically, and the other public sector unions, SEIU. Blank checks. And just apply it to your sector, your business, your work environment. That's what they aim to do. For starters, John in Villa Park.
Hey, it's your everything you're saying is exactly right, and this stuff makes me sick. But it's your education and experience that demand more pay, and it's up to you to make yourself that valuable. And we all know that everyone that says, "Oh, you're going to get all these things," in the end, these people are just going to get scraps. They never get nothing. And is she willing for the person that washes her car or cuts her grass, where she's probably looking for the best deal? Is she going to pay them double or triple just because they deserve it? They're on their feet all day. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Jim in South Elgin.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hello.
I'm Rahul, Mr. South. Really from Oak Park. I was born and raised. I went to high school there, and I left there about 40 years ago, in part because Oak Park was very small-minded. Just to give an example, way back when, Oak Park used to have all these stores like Marshall Fields and Litton's and Weebolts and things, just like a small edition of Michigan Avenue was. It was really cool. But then, like, for example, there was an old grade school near the downtown that closed, and a fellow wanted to put in a Marina Tower type of development there, and people say, well, the architectural skyline was too high, and so the guy made it lower and lower and lower, and finally became untenable, so he walked away. And during that time, that's when all these malls like Stratford and Oak Brook and Woodfield were being built. So all the business got sucked out of Oak Park. And so Oak Park was a dearth of business for quite a long time. And now when you go to downtown Oak Park, you see a bunch of small high-rises because they had to grow vertically to keep their population base. And also, Forest Park has seen a lot of restaurants relocate out of Oak Park into Forest Park because of Oak Park's stupid tactics and dealing with business. So you're seeing an example of this with these idiots in the board.
Thanks, Jim. Chuck and Delavan.
Hey, I agree with Amy. She was probably taking and scamming all the tips and everything. Most people don't even know what a tip means. It means to ensure promptness. I want to know about these Oak Park guys. When you were talking about the open-toe shoes, how do the hog farmers go out and feed their pigs with open-toed shoes in Oak Park? Because I have to wear boots when I go out to take care of my hogs.
Yeah, I don't think so, for the call, Chuck. I don't think they have any big hog farms in Oak Park anymore. But yeah, Tim in Woodstock.
Did see a chicken coop. Hi, good morning, Dan and Amy. You know, I think she uses kind of a sleight of hand in saying that a person's human value is based on what somebody thinks that they're worth. No, it isn't. It's actually based on your contribution to the economy. And I wonder what other country or government system she thinks she could go from being a waitress to being a congresswoman in 1 year. You know, instead of praising that and saying what an amazing country, what an amazing system it is, she turns it around and leverages it for political purposes, and it's very sad.
Thanks for the call, Tim. You remind me to point out something else, too. Yeah, she's talking, when you talk about how much money somebody makes, that's their economic worth in a market. That's not their worth as a human being. Your salary is not your worth as a human being. And she purposely, well, I shouldn't say she purposely does it because she's probably too ignorant. But she is conflating the two, and the left purposely does, even if she's not purposely doing because she's not that skilled. Purposely. You are not, your worth as a human being is not your job. That doesn't have to define the entirety of you. And that's not what we're talking about. Because you make less money than somebody else, you have less value as a human being. Nobody believes that. I don't. So that's the cheap sophistry of the Marxist left when it comes to economics. Byron in Lombard.
Hey, Dan and Amy. I kind of stumbling over this in my mind for days now, and I want to offer it as, raising everything to a higher level is kind of like, what makes a society work? What are the things that we need so that everybody benefits from all of us being together, the contribution that all can do? South side of Chicago is not really benefiting because we're not all working together there. When it comes to AOC, Bernie, the Democrats, where are they leading us to help us make a society better? You mentioned about the value of people. People have value all over the place without regard to salary. How do we bring all that together to make the society that we want? And like I said, I'm still stumbling on it, so I'm anxious to hear if you have anything at slightly higher level.
Well, thanks for the call, Byron. I have something in rap form at a higher level.
Oh.
This is brought to you by Emergent Order. They did really good work. This is really well produced. I saw over at Reason.com. I think it was actually commissioned by the American Economic Institute for Research. Marx versus Mises. You probably heard Karl Marx's name. Maybe some of you haven't heard Ludwig von Mises. You should familiar yourself with him, the great Austrian economist, founder of the Austrian School of Economics. They put together a little rap that gives you an outline of what's a couple of different competing systems of men and women interacting in a free society with respect to their economic pursuits could look like. We'll give Marx the floor first.
Marx versus Mises. Mises versus Marx. The march of history continues.
Workers of the world, assemble. It's time for the ruling classes to tremble. I'm the people's hero, the MVP, M-A-R-X. Yeah, you know me. Let's go back to when men were free. We hunted and gathered communally, but get ready Cause here comes the twist. A villain appears, called a capitalist. He puts the proletariat, that's us, in chains. Exploits our labor, in pockets of gains. Through slick ads, he tricks lads and ladies in kind. Selling fake needs, he poisons our hearts and minds. He rots our soul through alienation, pursuing limitless accumulation. He works us into an early grave. Through debt steals back the money we save. Greed is the gospel, profit. The rich get richer through graft and fraud. The poor get poorer, but you don't care. Doesn't that sound laissez unfair? 200 years I've been singing this song. Now my chorus is 99% strong. The revolution's here, it's time to repent. Your moment is over, your capital spent.
Laissez unfair, Mises responds.
Guten Tag, Marx. Nice to meet ya. My name's Ludwig. Call me teacher. The master of markets, the Austrian boss. You don't like profits? Well, let's talk loss. The problem with your plan is nobody wins except Stalin, Pol Pot, Ho Chi Minh, Lenin, Mugabe. Remember Berlin? They built a wall to keep their people in. Your theories have a rotten foundation. Built on control, not cooperation. Centralized power completely corrupts. Real people suffer, violence erupts. Your system depends on the very same people you decry as greedy, bourgeois, and evil. If we're not fit to run our own lives, why would you expect our votes to be wise? If you really want to help people rise up, unleash the free market, let their lives up. It was capitalism, not a socialist plan. Saved billions in India, China, Japan. Everyone has a unique purpose and plan. No one solution can serve the whole land. Each individual has their own voice. The heart of my theory is freedom and choice.
Round two.
Oh.
Marx.
Free marketeers love to play this game. Mao kills billions, Marx gets blamed. It's deceptive, dishonest, plain unfair. Did I drive the tanks at Tiananmen Square? Man, I'm a humanist. You can check my receipts, but you gotta break eggs if you wanna eat. Don't like violence? Admit defeat. Then I'll call this revolution complete. Till then, let's get a few things straight. I'm not shaping the future, I'm embracing our fate. My utopian forebears weren't that specific, but this analysis is highly scientific. Every social system has governing laws. Capitalism? Doomed because the system generated its own fatal flaws by uniting workers in a common cause. Thanks to you, we have all the wealth we need to seize control and eradicate greed. The people are rejecting your bourgeois lies. Real Marxism has never been tried. Equality is the core of my creed. From this one's ability to that one's need. Our healthcare, finance, and industry. Let's collectivize and set ourselves free.
And Mises gets the last word.
Standard refrain, oh, that's not the real thing. The most common verse all your followers sing. The closer we get to your ideal system, further we go down the road to surfer. The empirical record can't be denied. Your ideas don't work, but they just won't die. Attention! This is not breaking news. Jevons and Menger lit that fuse. Now here comes the bomb via von Bonn. He blew up your system, exposed the core work. The heart of your theory is exploitation of surplus value. That's a bogus equation. You can't explain value by measuring the cost of labor. That theory of value has lost favor. Value is subjective by every measure. One man's trash is another man's treasure. There's no exploitation if two people arrange voluntary exchange. Man, that's not deranged. That bourgeois transaction you diss with a scarf creates benefit for both, so we're both better off. Here's the real problem, the crucial equation. Without private markets, there's no calculation. To coordinate courses, allocate resources, incentivize choices, because it lacks prices. What crop should I grow? Should this factory go? Should I pick a J.O.? How would your planners ever know? Your theory is a bundle of confusion. Socialism got crushed by the marginal revolution.
It's about enough fun 9 minutes if you want to do a little tutorial on the two systems that are frankly at play, not perfectly, because even most conservatives aren't arguing for a true free market, managed capitalism, government involvement. But it's very, very good in terms of laying out sort of the fundamentals and framing the big choices you have to make. You want to choose Marxism versus something approaching capitalism. Sarah in Lincoln Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah, you're on.
Yes, hi, good morning. I just wanted to make a comment about AOC and her being confused about economic worth. Well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so what does that say about me?
Well,
that's a good question.
Well, yeah, thanks for the call, Sarah. Right. I mean, you're betraying the feminist revolution, which is part of the working class revolution. Of course, that would be the answer. And, but also, too, she'll mandate for you the same thing she wants to mandate for others. That's somebody else's obligation.
Thanks so much for making us part of your work week. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, Quinn McCarthy, who is
Von Mises' rapping protege.
Exactly. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Amy and Dan, good morning. A deadly triple shooting being investigated in the city of Chicago as CPS has canceled classes again today. The teachers' strike continues. Ex-Chicago outfit boss Joey the Clown Lombardo dies at the age of 90 at the Colorado Federal Pen.